You're surrounded by firewires left and right. Which one of these shred sticks are you choosing so you can dominate those small to medium waves at your local break? Stick around and find out. Today, we are checking to see if I sound and look good, and per usual, on my iPad Mini 6, I look and sound amazing. There I am. Today, we are checking to see if I sound and look good, Travis, per usual, in like 5 different languages and audio tracks, etc. But let's get down to the brass tacks here. So, we have 2 surfboards. Well, actually, we have 3 surfboards because we have another one back there, which, if you're in the potentially my areas, this board is on the offer-ups, the boardals. It's going to be on. It's going to be on all the ones if you want to pick up a prized possession from a YouTube celebrity. Me, talking about me. This board right back there could be yours. So contact me, DM me, whatever you got to do. If you want to ride the same board that I have ridden, that board back there, the Seaside and beyond, let me know. And the only reason I'm getting rid of it is because of the thing I talk about that no one wants to listen to me about, of my back feet hitting the back of those pointy tips down there. Those pointy tips hit my feet. I don't like it. I need me that Machado Cotto. I need me that Revo Max. I need me a board that ain't going to poke my feet. But I do love the Seaside and beyond. I don't really want to see it go, but I need to spread the quiver out, thin the quiver out. And the only way to do that is to make the monies in the bank, to use that monies to buy the new products. But back to biz here. We have 2 very waxed up surfboards. Do not judge my waxing. I promise I do wax more than once. But this is the lovely MASHUP. If you can even see it through the wax there. This is foo mixed with sticky bumps with who knows what else kind of goos on there. Versus the glorious, somewhat new to me, and I'm still figuring it out. I'll talk about that later. 2-fish with the Machado fins, which so far are the goated best option for the board, but I do have that review in the works as well. Now, which one of these 2 boards do you reckon is better for your quiver? Well, to start off, I want to thank everyone for stopping by. Please, if you haven't yet, smash like, hit subscribe. I have a little, I think it's gone now, a goal. I have a goal going on. If you super chat, you will be the official sponsor of the next live stream. So I'll give you a shout out. I'll put you in the description. You will be the official sponsor. You should get mad. Your ego will be like so frothed that you're sponsoring a live stream. It's going to make your day as I watch people leave the stream. But I would appreciate that a lot because that helps the channel continue to run. But I'm going to say, so these 2 boards, what's interesting is that once you like look on the thumbnail, the boards do actually look very similar and they have a lot of similar characteristics. But they are pretty different as well. So let's go through a few of the similarities to start. So similar stuff. One big part of this that makes them very similar is their tails. They both have a swallow tail. Now, they are quite different swallowtails though. With the MASHUP sporting a little mini guy. It's just a little guy. Don't even worry about him. He's just here just to help the waves a little bit. Pretty much like the smallest swallow I've ever seen. It's kind of like the sweet potato swallowtail, where it's just enough to give it those 2 pivot points. Let's see if you're going to want to stay there. You're not. But then the 2-fish, on the other hand, also has a swallow. But here's where we start seeing the differences. The 2-fish swallow, it ain't playing no games. No games are being played here because this swallow is ginormous. Compared to the Machado, I get all the names mixed up with the M words. The MASHUP swallow, goes to right here. We have the two fish swallow going down. I mean, it's pretty much 6 inches. How I know how long that is, unknown, if you got the joke or not. But a swallow that's like this big ends up surfing a lot different than a swallow like on the MASHUP. People want to call it Machado Cotto now. This is gonna surf more like a typical MR twin fin, a Cali twin, which really once the waves start getting sizable, I've noticed these kind of twin fin retro-y swallowtail shapes don't hold the best in bigger surf. Now the MASHUP will hold a bit better in bigger surf, but I think it's due to the helium. I wonder if the volcanic does this a little better. It does almost get like a little too speedy and crazy, just less crazy than the two fish. So the two swallowtails are the first comparison of the two boards. But even there, it's not a very fair comparison because they're almost set up to surf very differently. The MASHUP wants to tic-tac like a skateboard. That's why the swallow, when you kind of keep it pretty much like a squash, just with a little indention, it has that hold of a squash, but it's letting you get the little tic-tac action. The two fish swallow, it's not going to hold as well with the big, deep cut right here. But then you throw on top of that the two fish actually has a humongous single concave right here, like a spoon. Whereas the MASHUP goes for the double and actually has like a little belly right here. And what I'm realizing for my kind of surfing, I prefer to have a little belly right here. Because what that does is it kind of like with the Revo Max, keeps more hold as like the flow of water goes up the board. It doesn't get as kind of flowy and skatey. Now, in conclusion, that does make a board that does have the spooned, concave that's spooned out right here. It makes the board really fast, like lightning fast, but you're out of control unless you're Rob Machado. And here's where I'm actually realizing where people in my comments, I wouldn't even say they're trolls, but get the smallest two fish possible. And I know a lot of you guys, know what you're doing. It's not like I'm being tongue in cheek here with the trolling. I know I don't really get too many trolls. I'm pretty lucky with that, and I appreciate my entire audience. You guys are all awesome. But I'm finally with the two fish seeing how once the waves get bigger, the size of the board going bigger actually does start to hurt you a little bit. Because then you're just trying to control more big board. So it's almost like with these kind of small wave gravelly boards, there's kind of two ways to go about it. There's kind of sizing it like the MASHUP, whereas even though this is 5'9", I wouldn't go smaller than this. And I know similar boat people say go smaller, but I see a lot of these 5'5s, 5'7s on the internets being sold because I know people are not able to ride them because they're too small. So when you go like kind of too small for me, it's really perfect for me. It's not going to work as good on the slow, small days, but then it'll actually start working better in the medium and as it gets bigger to its max. If you size your grovelly board like kind of massive, like this is the 5'11", it's 38 liters, 5'9", 34-ish liters. This is going to work better when it's like thigh to waist high and you need the board to do the work for you. But then once it starts getting sizable, like on our last swells in the Californias, I took this out in one day where I really realized that like it had hit the limit. And it wasn't even really the helium or the the board shape, it really came down to the massiveness of the spoon here, the scoop out, and just like how these fins are kind of set up, and just the fins not giving me enough hold. Which is interesting because I feel like I finally have figured out twin fins. Like, this is coming from a person who rode thrusters his whole life, and they've always been more challenging for me. But now that I feel like I've figured them out, this is kind of, the two fish has thrown me for a loop again. And you know, it's because it's back to basics. It's back to what the twin fin kind of was and kind of is before they tried to make them a little more user friendly for the mass audience. There's so much space here, whereas on the MASHUP, it actually kind of goes the opposite, and the tail comes in a good bit. So here's a decent little comparison, but you can really just see here how with the MASHUP, it doesn't like stay as wide. And then here you can really see how different the two tails are. With this tail, you know, being a good chunk, I mean, you can see your old hand there. This thing, it's borderline squash tail. So that's why I think like the MASHUP is an easier board to surf, especially if you're not used to twin fins. The two fish is actually slightly better groveler if you can handle like the stereotypical twin fin feel. Now I find this interesting because on my first time riding the two fish, I actually did ride it with the Tomo Revo Max fins. So I rode it with the Revo Max fins, and it was pretty interesting because it actually, to me, didn't ride that good at all. It was extremely skatey. The fins look like Rob's fins, but they're actually a lot smaller, even the largest. These Rob fins only come in one size. The Revo Max fins probably stop to like this second red line. Like, they are a good amount smaller, and it's just due to their size and with how Rob's kind of set up these twin fins that they don't work that good. So the endorphin fins I still need to try, and they might work better. But you can see his placement of the twins. They are really far back. I mean, you can't get that much further back, especially if you see how they hit the rail right here. I mean, they're almost, don't fall, no accidents this stream. There's pretty much like an inch between the rail and the fin here, which is like that on a lot of fins, but considering that even here the board ends in a sense, you come over, you only have another, inch here. So I feel like the Revo Max twins are actually like a little up more and a little more towards the center of the board. What Rob did with this is he made like this whole area right here just like a giant planing surface with nothing to grab it. So you end up like flying down the line. And when you go to like pivot or turn or something, there's not really too much to engage or hold with. So you kind of end up like just surfing like you see Rob Machado surf. You just have to keep going. There's no like turn, slide out, restart, go up, hit. It's turn, go. It's just smooth, stylish, fast, flowy surfing. the MASHUP doesn't have like as crazy of a flat, wide area right here. And with the included fin right here, it makes it like a lot more stable. Which is interesting because it's like skinnier and thinner, and it still has like the tic-tac tail. If you ride the MASHUP with just a twin fin and no stabilizer, it does become a little more like this, but it still isn't. It doesn't really feel like it should be ridden like that. Like it should have a little stabilizer. It should have something. So it's not. It's almost kind of like the board doesn't have the drive that this naturally has. So I would say, the first get-go with the stability and the slidiness and the swallowtail, what that creates is a flowier, better board for crappier waves, but it's more out of control. The MASHUP, you need a little bit more of a wave to get it going, but with the fin setup and just how the board is a little more streamlined, it's more controllable. So I'm going to say they're kind of tied with just how they work in the smaller to medium waves, but it's almost more dependent on the kind of surfing, you're looking to do with the boards. So next, let's talk about the construction. So these are both actually in the same construction, helium. You can get these in the volcanic construction, which in the thumbnail I do have the MASHUP in there. And I find the volcanic helium construction to be like, I would say, the stiffest and maybe the best for groveling, almost like a timber tech board, but just not like that intense of thickness and just kind of craziness. Getting a weird light right here. Let me see something. What is this? Getting a weird top light on the screen. I don't know what that is. But I think it's interesting because like both boards are. I'm just gonna plug them in and just make sure my camera's not broken. Oh, I don't know what that is. Huh, interesting. Some kind of horizontal line. I have my OCD of filmmaking, and I have to look at this really quick. Yo, you know what? I don't see it on the thing. Right here. I think it's just, it's just the YouTube thingy. Okay. Well, apologize, viewers at home, but young Travis needs to make sure that his $1 million camera isn't broken right now. It does. I don't think it is broken, but I'm seeing some kind of line through the screen that is unknown what that is. I think it's just a fade in from the Z YouTubes. But back to the construction here. So if you want like a little more of a stiff effect, and actually you want the board to perform better as the waves get bigger, I think the volcanic is your better bet. What I've noticed is as the waves like increase in size, that's the one kind of hiccup that I have with the helium construction is it gets like just a little too out of control. And the problem is like when you try to like do radical maneuvers in like a gnarly section, doesn't really matter your skill level too much because it's more about the board not being able to dig in the water as much after the move or before the move. And like the last couple of days when it has been kind of bigger and you've been needing like the board to hold in bigger surf is when I've noticed that like the PU, that's where the PU really does shine when like you need the board to go down kind of a choppy bigger wave and then to engage a bottom turn and to go up and turn back down. Without the engagement into the water, That's where the helium has trouble. But the volcanic helium, I reckon, alleviates those worries because it lets the board have that stiffness and dig that the straight up helium doesn't allow when it gets bigger and when you really need to like be critical. So it's almost like if you're getting these boards to surf in bigger waves, that's a good reason to get the volcanic. The volcanic, in theory, is also more durable. Now, my favorite tech so far is actually probably the Ibolix volcanic, which is really interesting because it's not helium volcanic. It's Ibolic. It's Ibolic volcanic, but it feels like to me there's a difference in the foam, even though I don't think there is. I don't think the helium or the Ibolics have different foam. It's just either this has the wooden rail and no stringer, or it has a foam rail and a foam stringer. But the innards, besides that, I believe are the same. But it's interesting how just the difference of stringer versus no stringer and the wooden rail versus no wood in the board has that much of a difference. And it's uncertain, like if it's, you know, there is some marketing there with just like establishing different technology to kind of like put a name to how it's going to ride. Like say there's two different types of hiking shoes, like this Kaha, there's the Hokas that I'm addicted to, and there's like the Hoka Kaha and the Hoka Anakapa. Now they might be like pretty much the exact same, but one might have like a little bit more of a thicker sole than the other one. And they'll call one like plush and one balanced. Now it's still the same material making up the sole, but it might just be like less material in there. But you're actually saying it creates a whole different feeling, and it's giving it a different name, hence helium and Ibolic. So the foam inside of the board is still the same. It's just different stringers and rails that do have a big effect on the board. And that's why when you wrap the board in carbon fiber or in this volcanic material, it actually has a big characteristic change. And it has a big change on two different innards, even if it's just the rail and the stringer or lack of stringer. So that was a bunch of word salad to try to describe how, like, for some reason I prefer the Ibolics with the volcanic, and I don't know why. It might be just because there's something about the rail being wooden that maybe there's like a flexed characteristic that foam does differently than wood. That once you wrap it in like a carbon fiber type thing, like the volcanic, which is basalt, it reacts differently. Wood being underneath that wrap versus just a condensed foam. So it's kind of interesting once you start playing around with them because, like, I'm sure if you had a giant two fish, and this is the 511 at 38 liters in volcanic, it probably would actually do okay on bigger waves. And that's because the wrap adds a level of stiffness to it. This is my light on these guys. There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we're talking. It gives you a little more stiffness than like the no wrap and just the glassing of the normal helium without the volcanic. So it's funny how, like, in the end, it's even though it's easy to get caught up in like the marketing and the technologies and all these things, they actually do make a difference. So it can be like kind of more confusing. So my goal with these is to like try to help you guys and we can help deep dive together. Don't worry, it's a hop lark. It's just hops and water. Staying away from that naughty stuff. Stay away. It's not good. Kids, don't do it. But like it's easy to get like confused and you get overwhelmed. I mean, as a recovering indecisive type person, I deal with like indecision like whoa. And nowadays when you have like a billion decisions, like how do you even make a decision when there's conflicting arguments and there's so much information, you don't know who's right and who's wrong. Well, in the end it just comes down to like you have to experience something, or at least I have to. And what I've experienced with like surfboards in the last 10 years, the last 5 years, is now we are getting to a point where there actually is like a good bit of difference with all the different board companies and all the different shapes, and like two boards like this that like on the surface they kind of look like similar. They also are very different. They also look kind of different. But if you're a good surfer, you could hop on either of these and have a really good time and kind of use your skills to ride the board as it should be. So, material wise, they really are the same and they come in the same option. So neither one really wins there. Back in the day, the old Seaside and Beyond back here, that is LFT. That's ancient alien technology. We can't even talk about it anymore. It is so, and it actually looks very good back there. The old Seaside and Beyond. Let's focus on it really quick. You can check it out. So there it is, back there, up. There it is. So the Seaside and Beyond is looking beautiful. It is getting painted blue by the light, and it's nice and clean, ready for its new owner. And I'm sad to see it go. But if you can see how it's almost like a slightly different color than this helium as well. Now, really, LFT was pretty much Ibolics. So before Ibolics was around, the Firewire scientists were making this LFT. And LFT, to me, right away, I didn't notice any difference in PU. Like, it felt great. I was like, oh, this is great. And even in bigger waves, I think it actually does very great. So Firewire, to me, when they make these kind of boards, they understood that these aren't actually going to do that well as the waves get bigger. And they have the thing where it says, 1 to 5 foot, 2 to 4 foot. They give you the guideline. And sure, you can go for it and try to like go over the guideline. But like that's where you really start to hit a wall. But if you don't want to hit that wall, I'd say go volcanic. And that's the solution here. If you're like, oh, I love the Firewire shape and the material, but when it gets bigger, it just gets a little too. That's where if you get a volcanic version, I reckon it will help that a lot. Especially if you go LFT, aka now it's Ibolics, volcanic, which you'll notice a lot of Kelly's boards and a lot of like the more performance short boards are in Ibolic and then Ibolic volcanic. So it's pretty interesting. Is even the new Seaside and Beyond is in helium, but they kind of have this different material. It's called like volcanic laminate or something, or reprieve. So it's volcanic reprieve lamination. So I don't know what makes that different than regular volcanic, but it seems only exclusive to the Seaside and Beyond. At least that's the only one I've seen it on so far. But what their goal with that, I believe, is that they're trying to make essentially kind of like an ibolic helium hybrid um, mixed with a volcanic, or actually like a helium board that will have a volcanic option that's even more stiffer and better and bigger waves. Because a lot of people buy the Seaside and Beyond, and the Seaside and Beyond has kind of become like more of a true mid length where you're not groveling longboard waves on it. You're riding like chest ahead to bigger waves. You're a bigger person, so you want to board more like the Seaside and Beyond. But helium in itself, like we just talked about, isn't going to do the best in that. So they put volcanic on it, and then maybe like it's an additional something going on, because I've only seen the volcanic reprieve on there. But yeah, let me know in the chat, y'all. Like, which are you guys going for? Because like if I had to pick one, like right now, I would actually go with the MASHUP. Now it's because I realized on my last 6 session on the two fish, I kind of like maxed it out and I pretty much hit its size limit. But it wasn't like when I hit the size limit on the MASHUP. When you hit the size limit on the MASHUP, it's a little more like you're just going too fast to like really hit a crazy critical section. But when you hit the size limit on the two fish, you're flying down the line and that part's sick, but then you hit like everything else besides that's kind of a challenge. So like I thought the MASHUP was fast, but the two fish is actually faster. But with that speed, you do lose some controllability. So as the waves increase, you need to have more control. So on any twin fin, that's gonna be a challenge, especially one where Rob puts the fins super far back compared to where the tail ends, and they're pretty wide. I mean, again, like I feel like you could have put them, a little more in and a little more like they're almost kind of canted. I know Rob knows what he's doing, so I'm not like trying to change the board at all. This is just what the board is. It is a very skatey, gnar board, and especially the Go Fish, which had 2 large channels going like here and here. But he didn't keep that, and I think he opted to like really up the ante on it. So yeah, let's talk next about, look at my list here. If I can get this thing to go on the thing. Oh, technical difficulties. Here we go. The tail is so wide on the two fish that like it's hilariously wide. It's almost like if you think the sweet potato has like a gargantuan shape, the two fish tail, it's a fat bottom girl. It's a fat bottom girl. It's like actually pretty unbelievable because you almost think it's too wide, but it is like making the board not just go completely out of control. All right, and so one other thing too. So, as someone who hates track pads, this is the best track pad I've used. Now, I almost wish it was kind of like the Revo Max trackpad that comes. I think it's called like the 2+1. But what's sick about this one is like this kick up is like really shallow. Like it's almost nothing. And the board is like shaped where like when you put your back foot on the tail, it like is pretty much right here, like at all times. So it ends up being really nice because it's flat. So it's not like if your foot's a little bit here or here, it's up or down. And then because it's just a little bit up, It gives you like a nice little push point. And for some reason, you don't feel like you have to move your foot around as much because it's basically like your foot has to be right here to do anything. Because if it's over here, over here, over here, the board's kind of so focused on this humongous spooned out flat area that to control the board, like you got to be right over this spot to like keep control of the board. And as a front foot surfer, it's interesting to like have to check myself. Like, all right, I got to surf off the back foot. And once you check that off, and you start just like holding your line and pumping right here, the board really comes alive and it really like ignites it. Whereas like on the sweet potato, it wasn't really as much about your back foot needing to be right over the special spot, or even the mashup. The mashup, it doesn't need to be like right over, this area, because it's more of a friendly, typical shape back here, and it doesn't get so gargantuan and wide that it creates like this humongous space. Yeah, now let's talk about sizing, because the boards are actually like sized pretty different. So the two fish, it's essentially like the sizes are more volumed out. My internet's not loading, but so this is the 511 38 liters. Actually, I mean it's the opposite. The my internet's not working now. See if I'm still on. I'm still on. So even though like it's a similar size and volume, the mashup isn't going to feel like as big of a board as the two fish. And I noticed that because the Machado Cado. Oh no, so I was right. So yeah, so like the 5.9 in the two fish is 37.3 liters. The 5.9 in the mashup is 34.2 liters, I think. So trying to oversize the boards really comes down to what kind of wave you're trying to ride on it. Because these boards are the same, 34.2. So these boards at the same height are still going to act very differently. This board's also 2 inches wider at the same height. But it's actually a teeny bit thinner, which is crazy because the mashup hides a lot of volume right through the middle part. And it kind of has like a Twinsman platform, but it's nowhere near as platformed. Which, by the way, if you want to watch a good movie, don't go now, but Platform 1 and 2 on the Netflix is amazing. Platform 2, first 45 minutes is goated. So you got to watch Platform. It's the best. And it'll remind you of the Twinsman and the mashup. But the two fish doesn't really have this. It doesn't really have as much of a like platform. It kind of has more of a typical rail that's softer. And that's how it doesn't seem like it's that thin. And this doesn't seem like it's thicker than that. But this 5.9 is thicker on paper. I mean, 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, 1/8 of an inch. Which is, minuscule. So it's not that much, but it is 2 inches thinner. Like this way. So the two fish, the same size boards, it's going to grovel better. And I think it's actually marketed a little more. in the grassroots section as a groveler. Like, so this pad's called the Go Fish pad, so that's why it probably works so well, as it's made for this board. But I just want to read like what Firewire says about the board in terms of the waves it wants, because I didn't look at this beforehand. And of course, this stuff isn't working or something. So 1 to 5, they're saying on the MASHUP. And they're saying 1 to 5 on the 2 fish. So they're actually saying the same size waves. But I'd actually kind of disagree a little bit in terms of, personally, I think that this is like 1 to 5 foot. The MASHUP is actually more like 2.5 to 6 foot. You need like a little more wave with the MASHUP for the get up and go. Like the get up and then start pumping, that's where the MASHUP needs like a little push. Whereas this super big tail, that will just help you get up and go on nothing, similar to the Seaside or the sweet potato. The MASHUP, because it's pretty much like a shortboard. It's like a hybrid. It's mixing a shortboard and a fish. It needs like a little something to get going. So that's why I think for a groveler, the 2 fish is actually a better groveler. But you have to know how to ride a twin fin fish that's going to ride like the stereotypical twin fin. And that's where it can get tricky, because it can actually ride like it's kind of difficult. And so is the MASHUP. So to me, these boards are like comparable, because they're actually like, I would say like intermediate boards. I mean, like this board's easier to ride than this board, just from a paddle and stand up and ride the straight. But then like a better board for a beginner would actually be like a Seaside, which is kind of like taking these boards and combining them and adding more fins and adding just more fullness of the nose and more of like a typical quad fish shape, as opposed to like a short board and like the Cali twin fin. So I have had a bunch of great sessions on this, but the last session was definitely like one of the bigger days, and I underestimated the size. And that's where I was going as fast as you can go on a surfboard, but just could not dial in holds, and I just felt kind of kooky. If I had the MASHUP out there, it would have been the better option. But it probably also would have been tricky, because the MASHUP sometimes suffers from the same thing that this suffers from, with just the epoxy, and when it's windy and just big, needing that extra dig. But this has just a little more of a shortboard characteristic, so it will do better. So if you made it this far, I much appreciate it. Please smash like. See, we have people in the chat. We don't got no likes. I'm getting pretty sad here. I'm going to have to give some hundreds, some party signs. When you get the likes up, all the YouTubers say it. You just take your little finger and you just hit this like button somewhere. I don't know where it is. But we're about to hit 45 minutes. We are deep in the mix. Let me know. Oh, there we go. We got the likes. Thank you. Oh, we're getting hearts. Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. All right. There you go. You made... Thank you. Whoever you were, thank you, because now I'm frothed and stoked. There's you, Migsy. Thank you. I appreciate you. My biggest fan. For someone else, thank you very much. Much appreciated. But, like, that's why it really is hard to have, like, a one-board Quiver killer, because once you hit, like, and that's why, like, the Revo Max, I think, is a super special shape, because it's, to me, that's as close as, like, a Quiver killer as you can get, because it actually does get good when the waves get bigger. But it can handle anything that these 2 boards would be able to. My little sponsorship, Poplark. These 2 boards could do. I mean, it grovels to me better than the MASHUP. The Two Fish does beat it, but like on rail, the Revo Max beats the Two Fish. Especially as a person who, oh, here we go, Migsy. Migsy's here. He's jumping in the water. Sweet. Migsy, we've had like a bunch of waves here. It's pretty much been like survival sessions. Like you're just happy to survive after the session's over because it's like big and gnarly and you almost drowned once or twice. You're just happy to survive. Oh, dang. No worries, man. No worries. I appreciate you stopping by, dude. Appreciate you stopping by. We've been having a good time. We've been popping off. We've been chatting about the shred sticks. I'm like surrounded by Firewire boards right now. I'm almost like I'm in like a naughty, spicy video, but instead of like dudes or girls, it's like surfboards. This could be like some kind of surf prawn video, you know, rated R surfboard video. But this shot's cool because I have like the fins and this is hard. You guys don't get it. It's hard to making your background not suck is hard. It's easier said than done. Because look, like if I show you over here, you're not gonna like it. But there's all kinds of messes over here. Look, lights and kitchens, and you don't want to go that way, and you don't want to know how I live. If anyone gets the reference, but don't tell anyone how I live. But that's where you gotta hide all that stuff, and you just get just what you want people to see. And it's just like Hollywood, where it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And Migsy says, I'm asking the mashup with the twins, Rob, and the one little knob at the back. He says, same here, legend. When you surf, who cares? Oh, nice. That's a good idea, Migsy. I wouldn't mind. I might have to try that. These in the mashup with the little thing. The KS 2+2 Nubster could be sick for sure. So far for me, I haven't necessarily really liked the mashup as a 2+1 though. Oh, there we go. For some reason, like I really like it with these NVS, like pretty much AM2s or AM3 fins. Like it's kind of the sickest thing ever. Because it's super, I feel like I'm riding a board like the Pod Mod, and it's like I know exactly what it's going to do, and it's like easy surfing kind of, even though it's like the board is a little tic-tacky. It's easier than surfing like the 2+1 on the mashup to me is like, it's funny, but it's almost a little too holdy. It holds a little too much. I maybe need to try more, but I tried the album with the little, then I tried like these, it's a French company, it's called Dor or DUAX or something, and the little NVS fin. And the same thing, it like did well, but it almost just had a little bit too much hold. But then without any back fin on the mashup, you're in Slide City. It's not, I don't think it's very good at all as a true twin. And it's not really supposed to be. So I don't fault it for that. Oh, our Migsy's out. Migsy, without you, the stream's going to go to SHIT, but hey, you got to go shred. I'll be okay. I think I'll live. Oh, sweet. He's going to give me feedback. Thanks, brother. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Drop a comment on how and any advice. Giving you party signs. All right, guys, we're about to hit 50 minutes. So at this point, we're just going to make it to an hour, and then we'll just see what happens. I'm hopped up on Hoplark, so also, I just want to appreciate anyone who's been clicking on any of the affiliate links, because I have been getting sales via the Clean Line Surf and a few other websites via AMP, which is really cool because whoever bought some KS endorphin fins and a few other fins, and it's again when you click these links in these YouTube videos, like it really helps people making the videos because essentially it's like we get a small percentage of the item you buy, and it doesn't cost you anything else. It just like say you watch a video on YouTube about an iPad, and then you click on the YouTuber's link to Amazon. Once you go to Amazon, even if like a month passed on some sites like Amazon, he'll still get a little kickback from whatever you buy from Amazon. Now, if you didn't click on the link and you just went to Amazon instead and then bought his thing, he's not really getting, he or she's not getting any commission from that. So it's kind of like going to a store and the salesman helping you out a bunch, and then at the very end you like just go buy it online or you go to another store and buy it. So not that you have to like do that for YouTubers, but the more I like work on my own affiliate stuff and like kind of get deeper into this like YouTube hustle, um it ends up being like an exponential growth. And once like people start using your links, they just use it more. And a lot of these sites have like really good policies where if you click on any of my links once, the cookies remember you and like the Cookie Monster, and then I get the monies. And with more monies, I get to like buy more stuff. I get to have more streams. I like pay my expensive rent, which none of you guys even want to know how much it costs. Don't even ask. Don't even ask. Because you got to pay to play. You got to pay to play to live on a permanent surf trip like I get to do. And I'm extremely lucky to live in an area where there's lots of waves. Because if any of you poor souls live in areas like the entire east coast of America, which I could live there, I might not. Some of you know where I live. Don't tell anyone. But if you live like on the east coast, it is stressful being a surfer. It is hilariously stressful. Like when you try to go surf Cape Hatteras in North Carolina and you want to score a hurricane swell and you have your surf line out and you're checking for the next day and you're getting all ready and it says, oh, you're getting all ready. And you wake up and you go drive down the Hatteras, you drive to Jersey or to your Florida spot. You walk over the sand dune, you look at the waves, and then whatever you see, it's like, all right, this is going to last for 2 hours. Do I go out here or do I go 2 miles down the street or do I go 10 more minutes or do I go back 10 minutes? And it becomes this like hilarious gamble, very much like being in a casino where it's like, all right, am I going to hold? I'm good with making $5,000. That's cool. Or like, oh, wait, or I can make 20 grand. And it adds this level of like complexity to surfing that it's just extremely funny. And it's why like Kelly Slater is the best surfer now. Because when you have to grow up and deal and like just deal with it, it sounds funny that you have to deal with this first world problem. It does kind of suck. And it's a good case for the surf parks and the wave pools because besides just timing, like the surf parks are going to create this whole nighttime where you can't surf. Well, the surf park you can surf after the sun sets. So that's like an extra 6 hours every day of opportunity. So that's actually driving like a big extra time to surf, and you're guaranteed waves. So it's easy to be a person who lives like where Migsy lives, or if you live on the Snapper Rocks, or if you're lucky enough to live where I reside now, like it's not hard to become kind of spoiled and to not realize that not being able to surf due to no waves like really has a toll. Has a toll on like your mental health, which sounds corny. But like if that's your gym. If like the surfing's your gym, that's your workout, that's your meditation, that's your release. When you can't do that, and like when you're checking a spot in Hatteras or Florida and you're determining if I'm going to surf here or 10 minutes that way, like it adds just a whole other level to like what it should be. And it just should be like this sacred mental physical activity that you get to do. but it becomes like this whole other thing on top of it, which it just causes like a lot of it's just like really stressful. It's funny because you're doing this fun activity that ends up being like stressful. Um, which is fair enough. Like any hobby or activity you get into, like you could love your job and it can be stressful, but it's almost like it's a lack of abundance, but it's true. It's not like a filter or like a learned helplessness. It's like an actual, all right, if I don't surf the 2 to 3 foot wave at Indy Atlantic, that, or if I go to like, down to like Ron John Surf Shop, like where that's at in Florida, Kelly's Old Break, that was in Kelly's Later Pro Surfer. Like, all right, if I don't pick one of these and oh crap, I miss it, then like you don't get to surf for like 3 weeks. Like you missed your opportunity to do your hobby, do your favorite thing in the whole world, and it just adds this whole other level of scarcity. And it's really hard. As I even talked to my friend recently who lives on the East Coast. And we were just talking about stuff, and I mean, actually, not to call him out, like we were talking about like drinking less and trying to be healthy. And he was like, "Dude, it's just hard because like I can't surf. Like, there's just no waves." And like I didn't really have any advice or anything. Like I was going through my other strategies, like drink a hop lark instead of a beer, like that. You check it off, like replace the habit with a new habit that's very similar. Well, with surfing, there's like not many other habits or hobbies that are similar enough to get you that the afterglow. So when he was like, "Dude, I can't surf. There's no waves." Like, and I remember that feeling when I lived on the East Coast, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right, man. I don't really know what to say. Like, I don't know how to. I can't help you there because." And it made me realize, like, damn, like I have sacrificed a lot in my life to be able to surf all the time. And sometimes it's like, oh, like is the sacrifice worth it? Um, and for me, I think it is. Like I think it is. I get to like have pursued this thing for so long that it's like become just part of me, second nature. And now like with me becoming like this famous YouTuber, now that I'm super famous, it's like it's all working out for me. So like I win. Um, but I am being tongue in cheek here. But it goes to show like you really kind of gotta just go for what you think you should do, and then if you fail, it's like, hey, like what was I gonna do anyway? Like what were you really gonna do besides failing? Were you going to like not try? Because I get bummed about failing all the time. Like I fail a lot. Like sometimes I'm just like, oh man, all I do is fail. Like some serious like negative self talk. Um, but like once you realize that like the time's gonna pass, what would I have done? Like how different would it have been? You can't really ever answer that. So you can either try again or just kind of dwell on this fake existence that never exists. We live like in this moment right now. That's all that exists is right now. Me looking at the screen with a little thing in my eye, you guys here. This is all that's going on. And then now this is all that's going on. Like all that actually exists is right now. Like anything in the past or the future is fake make believe. And once the more you can wrap your head around that, the more you're like, all right, well, if I want to surf in good waves, I got to spend $1 million on rent, and I got to move here, and I got to do like you have to like. And that's not my advice for my friend because he's going on his own path. But as a surfer, it's easy to relate to someone who's like, I don't get to surf good waves often. How can I surf waves more often? Well, the wave pools are coming. Buy a longboard. He's doing these things, and you can do these things too. And that's kind of my goal with this. The verses of surfboards is like, as opposed to getting wrapped up into, oh, let's read the volume chart. Oh, like I need the highest performance shred stick in the whole world. Like, no, in the end of the day, like what boards are going to let you like do your hobby day in, day out. When you need to go do it, it's going to get the job done. That's what matters, is whatever is going to like get you in the water, get you that afterglow, and then you can do it habitually. Like that's like the best board. Yeah, so that was a little bit of like a rant there, but it's kind of similar to like there's a new Instagram guy. It's kind of similar to like there's a new Instagram guy. Give you a shout out, but he's like trying to surf Mavericks, and like he's got a similar. Oh, is this him right here? Oh yeah, cool. So I think he did it. I think he achieved his goal of surfing Mavericks. But like you would think someone like this person trying to surf Mavericks like wouldn't have trolls and wouldn't get hated on, but lo and behold, like this person trying to go surf Mavericks has people in the comments hating. Like he lives in a van. He moved in a van. He like got a job in near, Monterey. He trains. He does all this stuff just to achieve like this one goal of surfing this one spot. And most people in the world like are never going to ever go for anything like that. They're just gonna go with the flow. Not gonna try. They're not gonna fail. And they're gonna end up one day just being like, oh, what do I do with my life? Like what's the meaning of all this? Like until you ask yourself, like, well, who am I and what's like the meaning? Why am I doing this stuff? It's so easy to go through the motions and never question any of that. So that the stream's taking a bit of a derailment here, but I don't mind because this stuff is super important. And this is how, like, say you get the 2 fish and it doesn't work out. Say you get the MASHUP, doesn't work out. It's all good. Like, you tried, and now you're going to try again. Like, even me, like, I think I should have got the 510 MASHUP. The Seaside and Beyond's been pissing me off. Like, oh, I should have bought the 7.4 Seaside and Beyond. Like, I'm always doing that kind of crap. And the older I get, the more experience I get, the more I fail. It's like all kind of a blessing. It's all like a good. It's like trying to make meaning of the suffering, which I'm still trying to figure that out, like why we suffer and how to truly find the meaning of the suffering. And I think I just kind of figured it out, even though I just forgot. But I think the meaning of the suffering is to learn and then like try again and then learn and try again. And it's like kind of like a circle, like the circle of life from Lion King, but like the circle of suffering. But like DMX said it, he said, I think Jesus said it at first, but it's like to live is to suffer. Like you are going to suffer no matter what. You don't get to surf waves, but then to survive is to find the meaning of why am I suffering? And it's like really hard to like ever even get near that type of thinking. I think you need some kind of like tragedy or some kind of like gnar-ish to happen, which I was, I think, unlucky enough to have some kind of stuff happen early on, but it kind of taught me to like, oh, the who am I thing, which most people don't ask who am I until you're on your deathbed about to die. You're like, oh, wait, hold on a sec, who am I? And you die. So if you ever just think, oh, who am I? Like truly, who am I? Like, oh, I'm Travis. Yeah, but who is Travis? Like, who is this? Like, it can be kind of a mind F. But that stuff is really important. Because then when you realize, oh, look, I'm Travis. I love surfing. I love the YouTubes. I love cameras. I love hop larks. Like, you can start being stoked on who you are, or at least who your personality and who like what the meat suit is. That isn't you. That is just your meat suit. You can be happy about that. And then when you have surfboard versus like, oh, like I like the two fish because I like riding skatey twin fin boards. Like that's who I am. I am a twin fin rider. Or oh wait, I am like a thruster, shredder, Filippo like type deal. Like that can be who, like you can choose to be who you are, but you only can do that by trying and failing. So that was kind of a super long-winded philosophical. Who even knows what we're talking about right now? What are we talking about here? We're talking about surfboards. But that's what surfing's about to me. Is about like you're able to have thoughts like that because like who else gets to have like clearness from surfing? And that's what my friend was saying was like, dude, I can't be clear. I can't have the afterglow because I can't surf. So I have to drink a beer or I have to kind of be stressed. Like I have my surfing outlet doesn't exist. So if like surfing's really important to you, like maybe you do have to move somewhere where there's always waves, or maybe you have to get the surf park membership. I think the surf parks are gonna like really start crushing it once they become like ski resorts. Like desert surf. So this is opening up very soon. And like once you have like a membership to a surf park, you have guaranteed access to sick waves like 3 times a week. Like how freeing is that? Like how freeing is it that you always know you can surf 3 times a week? It's like pretty awesome. Like where I live, I know there's always going to be some waves. And for me, it's more about, well, I pick the board that's going to ride the waves best. So it's kind of, it's the art of surfing and like the hobby and the sport. Like that's why we're all here and we're all so addicted and we enjoy watching these versus videos and it's like all fun and games. But it is truly like an important like indigenous like activity that we've done for thousands of years and there's something I think sacred about surfing that is hard to describe. Only a surfer knows the feeling. And I don't mind like dedicating my life to it because it's like what else am I going to do? Like what I haven't found nothing else, unless you're going to like go to the jungle and do um like really go deep into like the ashwagandha or whatever and just like try to or move to like India and just meditate for 12 hours a day. There's like I feel like there's not many routes to go down where like you're going to do something truly fulfilling. But it's not hard to just like go surf and after you surf to like have like a large level of fulfillment that like where else do you get even near that level of calm and afterglow? I mean, you get it kind of after you watch a spicy video or engage in a naughty activity that's rated R. That after feeling, I think, similar to the after feeling of surfing because you've kind of like entered the flow state for long enough that now the chemicals have released and you're kind of like at this cool like even level. Now you don't release the same chemicals, but you release enough chemicals surfing where it's obvious that you've surfed or haven't surfed. So I'm going to say, like, if you want to surf the most and you live on the East Coast, the board like the Two Fish is for sure your better bet for like the smallest, crappiest waves. To me, it's kind of more like the sweet potato, whereas the MASHUP is more like Dominator. It's kind of more like the Seaside, even though I'd actually say the Two Fish is more like the Seaside. I'll go the Grave or the MASHUP. It's not even really a groveler. I mean, it rides medium to big waves good, but it's not like a sweet potato Seaside Two Fish groveler. It's not a longboard replacer. It's not a mid-length replacer. For me, I think it's a shortboard replacer. Like instead of buying a Dominator 2.0, instead of buying, what was that Almeric board? Black Beauty, I think. Like instead of buying a thruster, yeah, the Black Beauty. Like this is your new thruster. I'm talking to you. This is your new thruster, the MASHUP. The Two Fish is your new Mega Groveler. And that is the bottom line, because Travis said so. But we have people in the chat. We're going to keep it going. We're reaching our hour 10. If you can please smash the like. Let me know in the comments which you pick. If you prefer the glorious Two Fish and its skatiness, its speed, or you want that tic-tac shreddability, pivotness of the MASHUP. Let me know in the comments. Smash the like. We got 7 people here. We only got 2 likes, guys. I don't like that. I don't like the lack of likes. I'm going to give myself hearts here. The likes aren't just for my ego. If you give me a like, that means the YouTube see it and they're like, oh crap, let's tune into the YouTube robots, like go to work, and they send the stream like all around more. And the more likes, the more they're sending it. So it's like, oh, there we go. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. They start sending it to the YouTube robots, and like more people watch, then it's like, and then in the end, the more money comes in my bank account. It's all about the monies. It's all about the monies. I kid. If anyone gets the reference there. But like, I'm at the point now though, even I've had the Two Fish a while. I'll admit that like it's not really the board for me. Even if I went like a little smaller, the sweet potato to me rides a lot better. And it really is just because of the single fin back there, the single fin slot, as well as just like it's just there's too much. Like it's too much of a Rob Machado board, and it's like I just can't. I need some pivot. Like that's like even if you look at like the Twinsman or another twin fin, the tail will probably get a little more narrow right here. Like the Twinsman, it's like narrow at the back, and then even here is like pretty much. It's like gets pretty narrow back here, and that has become like my big wave board. Like the Twinsman, I really put it to the test. This last Mega Swell, and that's where I solidified. Like, all right, like I love you, Seaside and Beyond, but like I do want to make room for Machado Cotto, Revo Max, or Sweet Potato. And the Seaside and Beyond kind of has become like my step up board. But the Twinsman, somehow, I have a 6.0 Twinsman, like can like surf big waves really good. Like hands down, it's my step up board now. Now it's because of the PU, but it's also because of like Matt from Album. The twin setup is like it's not like this. It's kind of the new age of twins where it gets more narrow. These are in more, and you want to have more of an upright fin, not as much of like a keel fin. Once the waves are like smaller though, like I really like how the Two Fish rides. So for me, it's like the smaller the wave on the Two Fish, almost the better, because then you can really just start like flicking it and just doing all these crazy things. Whereas that's where other boards struggle, is when it is like a tiny Tim wave. The Twinsman though, like kind of like the MASHUP, it needs wave, but it needs even more wave. And even the Twinsman kind of suffers from like the twin fin. I want to call it like the lack of pivoting, but it's almost like you can't do a bottom turn like this. On a twin fin, you almost kind of have to like cheat it and like cut up. Not as much of like a circle bottom turn It's more of a cut up. But I notice on the two fish, I think just because there's so much space here that it lets me do like the bottom turn I want to do better than the Twinsman lets me do bottom turns. And I mean like a bottom turn into a top turn. But on the flip side, backside, the Twinsman actually is sick. The two fish backside, it does suffer a little bit from like the backside twin fin Achilles heel, where it gets a little slidey on the bottom turn, and when you go to top turn, it like kind of wants to throw out more. Because especially compared to the Revo Max, which does that like hella good. Hopefully YouTube didn't demonetize me for saying that. Like it doesn't. Oh, is that a ding? I don't know what that is. It doesn't like it holds better once you're flying down the line. Whereas this, you're flying down the line, backside, and then once you do anything, it doesn't want to hold as well. Like today, I had like a proper like 7.5, 8 foot wave on the Twinsman, and it was like fast, and I was able to like cut up, cut down, like riding like a really big wave on the Twinsman. As long as it's not like the most top to bottom thing ever, it's like you feel like a pig in poo. It's like really amazing. You're just like, wow, this thing is like lighting up right now. And that's interesting because like you don't buy a Twinsman thinking this is my step up board. And even for me, the Twinsman's kind of gotten to a weird spot where it's like a love hate. Sometimes the Twinsman's sick. Sometimes it's just like I can't like figure it out. But then when it gets bigger, like this last week, I'm like, all right, I need to keep this board. I'm glad to have this board because I don't have another board that can handle this and do this. And it's cool because it's like a twin fin. Like I never would have thought in a million years that you would go surf big waves and you would have a twin fin. So that's why I think the two fish is kind of like going back in time to the classic twin fin shape. Whereas the mashup, it's the only way you're going to ride it as a twin fin is a 2+1, and it's not really trying to be a twin fin. It's trying to be like your performance groveler, or this wants to be your like Mark Richards twin fin, which really it's like kind of like the California twin, but it's even just wider. It's almost kind of like I've noticed a lot of Rob's boards do this. They end up being like kind of top wide, whereas like he'll take a board, like you can kind of see it in back here in the Seaside and Beyond. Like the top of the board is almost like it's almost kind of weird looking. Like it looks something's off about it. And the two fish does this a lot too. You can really see it like in the thumbnail and pictures of it. Or like the top half of the board is like kind of looks like a cartoon character. It, like kind of even though the tail's super wide, the widest points almost seem like they're up here. And it's funny because as a front foot surfer, I like that a lot. And the more you ride, like the boards that do that, what Rob has kind of, I think, made more mainstream, the more I have trouble. Oh gosh, there we go. On like the MASHUP board, where it doesn't do it as crazy, it's a little more normal. So it wants to kind of do it, but this to me looks more like a normal, like shortboard. But when you look at the Seaside and the two fish are like the two great examples of Rob just like going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on making like this like weird kind of like Seaside and Beyond looking thing. where it's so wide up here, and then it gets like kind of narrow. And the two fish is just crazy because it's super wide down here. So he has to like make it even wider right here, and it almost looks kind of ugly. I mean, I feel bad saying that, but it's not like the Machado Cotto, like to me looks more aesthetically pleasing. Whereas the two fish is kind of like it's kind of like it's like the Goonies, one of like the Goonie monster characters. Oh, we got Mark Ellum, sweet dude. Let me make sure my camera's not overheating. Let's see. Oh, we're good. We are killing it. The ZV1 is doing amazing. So, all right, hour 20. Let's keep it going here, y'all. Let's keep it going. My voice is starting to go. Mark says, "Hey, mate, finally caught one of these lives. All these reviews have been really helpful as I've been looking into quite a few of them." Well, wow, that is very nice of you to say, sir. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a heart. I'm going to give you a smiley guy and give you a couple confused guys. There you go. Mark, which boards? There you go. A bunch of Aussie talk for you. Because I appreciate my Australian audience, because you guys right now are my second biggest audience, and you are quickly getting near my first biggest audience. Let me just double check my statistics. Oh, but I got some subscribers. Thank you. People subscribed just during my live stream. I'm almost at my my new goal. Be like my analytics, my Australian audiences for the last month is 8%. My American audience is 37%. So only 1/3 of my audience is from the Americas. And Australia is 8%. If I go to all time, that's just the last month. If I go lifetime, that might take a second. I might go just last year. So last year, oh, it's funny. So last year, my Australian audience has only been 5%. So I've picked up, you Aussies have been watching me more and more. So I appreciate that, because I've lived on the Gold Coast and I've traveled a bunch in Australia, and I feel a sacred belonging to Australia. And I would happily live in Tugun or Miami Beach, because even though like the Goldie's kind of a SHIT show, it's like something just magical. I mean, I could just surf like Devon Burley Heads and like be stoked, and then every now and then surf snappers. And you get to like go up to Noosa and Byron Bay. It's like SoCal is like sick for surfing. Then I feel like Australia East Coast is like the one of the place that's kind of equal in, I say, like all the spots, and it's like kind of safe. The language barrier is easier if you're an English speaker. There's like a big surf industry. It's very similar, very similar. You just gotta like not get in a car crash, because we drive on different sides of the road. I remember when I first like came back to America from Australia, like right away I was like on the left side. You have to like remind yourself, oh, right side. Like it's really easy just to completely forget, because by the time you get reacclimated, it's funny how you would think it's once you get used to it, it's not that hard. Like your brain like does it and goes the other side. But like if you had to like live a month in Australia, a month in America, and go back and forth every month, I could see you getting into some car crashes, because it's kind of tricky like to remember which side to ride on. But I almost wanted to make this video about the two fish versus the sweet potato, because I think those are actually more of a similar board. But I like having the boards in hand to kind of show the shapes. Sometimes I will talk about boards that I don't have, or have demoed or whatever, but I like showing you all the boards and kind of like having a visual guide. I think it helps. Like, it really helps to look at these two boards side by side and be like, okay, like I can see, like it's easy. Even though this board is 2 inches taller, the two fish, it's kind of easy to see. The one is essentially, I mean, they actually are very similar though. Like if you didn't surf, you'd be like, hey, dude, those are the same boards. But you know, with the thicknesses and they do have kind of a similar nose. I will say that. We haven't talked too much about the uppers, but that's kind of a nice shot. Let's see. Oh, Mark's chiming in. Let's see. All right, hour. Guess we'll keep it going. We can beat my record. I don't know my record. 2 minutes 13. 2 hours 13. My voice is really getting there though. Oh, Mark just made my dream. That's what I'm trying to do is get a second-hand Machado Cotto. So Mark said picked up a second-hand Machado Cotto and he's been really liking it in better quality waves. And he got a sweet potato, but the waves have been flat. So I haven't had a chance to try it. That's awesome. Those are the two boards I literally want right now. Dang it, you and Mike Raven. I'm jealous of you guys. I'm jealous. Jealousy and envy is one of the sins. But I'm jealous because like that's what I want. Like the mashup's old news. She got the 510. I blew it. Throw this in the trash. Seaside and beyond. I'm pissed off at it. So my goal is like, but I don't want to get rid of the mashup 5.9 because like in the end, if I have to show up to like a spot where there's like a bunch of shredders and it's like groms and I gotta fit in, like I can walk up with the mashup 5.9 and like it's a short board. Like, all right, what's up, guys? And they're not like you walk up with the 5.11 two fish, you're like, dude, that board's huge. But like the 5.9 mashup, it fits in just enough where like you can make that's my short board. And it really truly for me it rides like a short board. So like, there are certain days where I really like having the 5.9 mashup. Like, for example, the nude beach, the Black's Beach break. Not that I do live near there, but if I did, when that's like kind of lower tide or just doing like its normal thing and it's not huge, like the mashup in its like normal size, not that oversized, is really sick. Because if a typical Black's wave is going to actually have some top to bottom and some push, which is like the mashup excels in. The mashup is like the perfect wave pool board as well because it needs some push, but then you want some hold, and it's like, and it really shreds because of the tail. So it's kind of like a specialty board, I would even say. Whereas like the Machado Cotto, I think it's a lot more of a daily driver. Especially because people like you have been saying that it actually does hold better once the waves get bigger. It becomes like a pretty good big wave board. Not big wave board, but bigger wave board. Which I think that's because of the squash. Like I'm doing like a wrestling. Wasn't this Xbox move, or was this the Xbox suck it, whatever? The NWO. And then same with the sweet potato, what size did you get? Because yeah, I literally want the 510 sweet potato and the 510 Machado Cotto. Like that's on my wish list. And then the 6.3 Revo Max. I feel like if you have those, then what more could you want? I mean, obviously, I'll want something else once I get those because like you think you're gonna be happy, and then you get it, and it's life still kind of sucks. But like, you know, you always want what you don't have, and then you get it, and you want more. It's like a never-ending wanting spree of more and more and more. It's like that new meme where he's like more from Star Wars, the new Star Wars, which kind of suck. But like, in the end, it would be sick just to have like 10 boards. Because really, it's funny because even though I have like this channel and I talk a lot about surfboards, like for a while I just rode a 510 pod mod and everything. Like I rode it in Burley Heads, I rode it in Panama, I rode it in Big Outer Banks. Like I was a one board one fins guy. Didn't want to like deviate. I just wanted the pod mod. I want nothing else. Don't need nothing else. I got my pod mod. So I never really want, like, I didn't want more boards because I liked getting on the pod mod and knowing exactly what to do. And it's like I was really happy where I was in my surfing. And I think it was actually this random 6'4" quad fish that I got from a shout out my friend Ainsley in Virginia Beach, Michael Dulce, which is like a China cutout brand, but they do have some hand shapes. And this random 6'4" quad fish like changed everything. And then I started like getting more boards, and like then I started longboarding more, and then it's like, all right, and you live in a spot where there's waves every day. Having a Quiver makes more sense. Oh, nice. That's sick, dude. So Mark got the 510 Machado Cotto, which I want, and then they got the 5/8 sweet potato, which I want to try. I want to try the 5/8 sweet potato really bad. If I see a 5/8 sweet potato like on sale, I might just get it, but I would rather try it. Yeah, I'm all about it. That's awesome. I would not mind going either of those. I mean, because I'm trying to sell the Seaside and Beyond and get pretty much my goal right now would be to like sell the Seaside and Beyond and then get whatever I see popped up, or even like I kind of have a little bit of a Firewire Connect thing. If you can tell, is I have like a billion Firewires, but like just kind of whatever pops up in those ranges, as opposed to be like I just want that, because then I can take away a little bit of the like just waiting around for it. But like I feel like the Machado Cotto really is an awesome board that in the end it's like I should just sell the MASHUP and then just get the 510 Machado Cotto. And like that board actually will work in what this is working in, and then actually will work when it's a little bigger. So it's almost just kind of like I just love when the mashup does turn better though, is the thing. Like it's so funny how that's like such minute little differences, but the mashup, because I have ridden like them pretty much back to back, and the mashup for sure can like go top to bottom and turn quicker than the Machado Cotto. The Machado Cotto is like a little more sluggish, and not in a bad way. Just the mashup is quick. It's very very quick, and it's more pivoty. And I think it's because it has some of the Dan Man ness in it. Mark says you'd be fine on a 5/8 sweet potato. It paddles really well. Sweet. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love a 5/8 sweet potato. I would love to try it, at least try it before I buy it, because I'm trying to adhere to my new goal of trying a board before I buy it, because I'm sick of the $1,000 experiments. I guess used it's a lot easier, but like I just hate selling boards too. Like, because not to be on my high horse, but I'm like I try to be honest, and it's like, you know, the Seaside and Beyond, it's like I gotta tell like, oh, it has a little bit of the redding that happens, and like you can kind of even see it on the bottom. Which the redding on Firewire is on the older one. It has nothing to do with performance. It's just pretty much the water got in there, and then instead of like turning a little yellow or a little, it's like a stain from kind of like a bioresin that had a color change due to like a change in the consistency of like what's going on in the air and the foam. Like long story short, like a lot of Firewires have dealt with that in the past. They kind of got it under control, but a lot of cosmetics with boards and stuff, it's like kind of makes the used market a crap show, because it's like who knows if people are being honest or not. It's this whole thing, and like I'm just not really a natural salesman unless I I can sell stuff, but it's like kind of stuff that I just am knowledgeable about, and I just know the person will be able to use it or not. Like if I want to talk about my Zoom H6, like it's easy for me to sell this because I know it's the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, it's a microphone to audio interface. So this is, instead of like a separate item, I can use the microphone that's plugged into the audio interface. And this literally goes into the USB-A of the computer. This is two things in one. I have a little wheel right here for volume. Tells me I'm recording these two red dots. So, and I've used this thing all over many times. So it's easy to sell something that I use every day and love. But like if I knew, this thing was kind of crappy and like it was super used and kind of broken, but I was still trying to sell it, I could try to be like, "Oh yeah, it works. Yeah, it's all good." You're like omitting truth, which is kind of like lying. So that's why I don't like selling used stuff, because like you're trying to find this middle ground between like selling a used item which has flaws versus like not just sounding like the item sucks. Like, oh, this thing's used 2 years. The fin broke out. It's some water is in there, but now it's watertight. I swear it'll be good. You'll be fine. People are like, oh, I don't really want to give you $500 anymore. So it's like it makes selling hard for me because like just want us all to get along. It's all to get along. Hey guys, we're just hitting an hour 36. My voice is about to go here, but we'll keep going. We'll keep going. I'm trying to think. I had a list and I lost it of what my other characteristics for the boards, but I think what's interesting too about the two boards is like they do have some. Rob Machado has shaped both the boards. Now, one board does have more Dan Mann in it. And in interviews, it seems to me that Dan Mann more so shaped this board than Rob, and Rob was kind of riding it. So to me, this is kind of like a Dan Mann board. And I say that too is because like when I ride the Sweet Potato, which is a Dan Mann board, it almost has more of a feeling of the MASHUP than the Two Fish. It might have to do with just the concaves here in the holes and stuff, but like the Sweet Potato is a board that really impresses me and surprises me because I mean if you think the Two Fish looks weird, the Sweet Potato, like in hand and in front of you in real life, you're just like, that thing looks weird. It's not the Machado Cotto. It's not like this pretty avocado outline. It's borderline kind of like, it's like way too thick, way too fat. But to me, it never rode like that. It doesn't feel super bloaty. It goes rail to rail really nice. More not responsive, but more like controllable than the Two Fish for sure. Because it has the kind of like the baby swallow, like the MASHUP, and then it has the third fin option. Now, if you take the back fin out of Sweet Potato, it's more sliding than the Two Fish for sure. But it's not really meant to be ridden as a true twin, I don't think. Big guys. So in the end, in conclusion, wanted to write at 1:45 here, unless anyone else wants to chime in. I appreciate all you guys sticking around. I think it's been a successful, good stream. The camera didn't blow up. I had like a weird spiritual talk for 20 minutes in the middle there somewhere. I don't know how that happened, but the goal of the channel, I mean, I want to make it a little more, it's you always need to niche down in the YouTubes these days, but like for me, it's like my channel and the Hero's Journey show, which is kind of like our journey through life, has always been about, cameras and surfing and snowboarding and kind of just our identities, our our journeys, our heroes' journeys. So I hope no one ever is like weirded out when I want to go down that kind of path, because I do appreciate y'all humoring it. And I think it is important, like for me as a creator, to like not be as pigeonholed. Like actors don't want to get typecasted, so that's why Adam Sandler does Punch Drunk Love, because he gets to play a character that is so out of his type that for him it's like interesting, fun, and then a lot of times for audience members it can be hit or miss. But like someone like me, I love when actors go out of their typecast. I think it's what makes the craft so amazing, is that like these pigeonholed actors end up like Jim Carrey when he does the Truman Show. You're like, wow, this is amazing. This like slapstick comedian has this dramatic performance that even dramatic actors couldn't pull off. So it's nice not to like pigeonhole yourself. Like it's good to have a home base, but don't be scared to like try new things. And that's what surfboards too. And like might think a sweet potato or a two fish is just too crazy, but try it out. Like fail, then you can try the mashup. Fail, then you can try the Machado Cotto. Like if you have the opinion that if you fail, all's going to end, all hope's lost, I think you're missing the point. It's like that's the meaning, is the failure in it. Mark says, I'm gonna keep going here. We have more people coming. I'm double fisting sparkling waters. My throat is dry and scratchy. Might have to bust out I'm gonna bust out a fake beer. Be right back, Mark. I want to answer your question. BRB. The last unofficial sponsor of the show. Here it is. Irrational Ales. I'm like pretty much like a sober YouTuber now, just promoting sobriety. It's cool now. But not JK, get your drink on. But like these are, if you want a fake beer that is the best and like actually tastes like beer, it's this one. It's Rational Ales. These are the best. Like they crush the competition. They all taste like crap. It's the Hoplarks and these. These are the two. If you want to just drink a little less of the beers, get these in your rotation. So Mark says, all right, I love this. These are the questions I love, Mark. Thank you. This is what YouTube pays me for. So Mark says, oh, I'm getting compliments. Mark, you're going to make my day here. You're going to make me cry. So Mark says, if you get a chance to try a boss up, that would be a good mid-length comparison with the Rebo Max. Well, before you answer your next question, that's in the cards for sure. I almost got the boss up, but I ended up going with the what was it called? The Tomo board, the Sci-Fi 2.0. So it was interesting because I had the boss up. I was with the Firewire guys. We were hanging out, and he's like, the boss up. This one could be sick for you. And I was like, oh, that is kind of sick. And even Tommy Surfs, I think, was talking about trying it. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I want to try that, Tommy Surfs. But then for some reason, I was like, I think it was like the 7.0 or something. It was like kind of close to the Seaside and Beyond size. And I was like, I really want to try like the 6.8 boss up, or what are the boss up sizes? Like I want to try one that I think they start pretty big, like 610. Okay, 610 is the first one. Oh, they have 6.6, 6.8, yeah. So I want to try the 6.6 or the 6.8 boss up, because I just don't want to have that problem where my back feet are kicking the back of the board. Now with the rounded pin like the boss up, it won't happen as much. Like on the Seaside and Beyond, when it happens, your feet are just kicking this thing. And I don't mean like I'm kicking. I mean the feet are resting, and then when I paddle, it's like just a little. And I just have like weird cramps now, like in my calves. It's kind of weird. I'm addicted to element and magnesium, but I just can't for some reason like have my legs in this weird awkward position where I got to keep my feet up, and it's just like kind of getting. Whereas I don't want to mess with it, so it's like I'm trying to avoid the 7 foot exactly board. I think the Boss Up's Firewire had available was a 7 foot, so I almost went S Boss, but like a 6'6", and I was like, and I was like, in the end, I was like, oh look, there's a Tomo board, and I saw the bat tail, and I was like, in the end, I was like, I have to try this. So I was stoked to try it because I would not try that Tomo Sci-Fi 2.0 ever. It's like too much of a short board, but it was really fun trying it. It was fun riding the quad, and the Boss Up's in the mix for sure. To long-windedly answer your question. All right, we're going to 2 hours, guys. We're at hour 45. I'll congratulate myself with the VAPE pen afterwards. So Mark says, oh wow, when the rational ale hits your lips, it's pretty much just like the real thing. It's the surf park of beer. Wow, it's amazing. All right, so, but yeah, compared to the Revo Max, I mean, I would think it's going to be similar. I like the Boss Up shape a lot because it's kind of like my Varga board, which you commented good surfing in that glove video. That's my 8-foot WRV Varga board, which is like my magic shape. It's like this magic longboard shape and it has the rounded pin. It's pretty much like the Boss Up. And I'm realizing the rounded pin, even though they say it's good for big waves, I find that for my kind of surfing, it actually works really well, especially if it's a 2+1 or a twin fin. Oh wow, Mark, you're making my whole day here. Mark said, I'm on the sunny coast in Queensland. I love the sunny coast. So the Sunshine Coast, right? The Sunshine Coast. Where did I surf? Is Noosa? Noosa's there, right? Yeah, Noosa. Oh yeah, the Shire of Noosa. I forgot there's shires in Australia. Man, Australia is the best. Yeah, Sunshine Coast is lit. I mean, I love the Gold Coast the most, but Sunshine Coast is second place. Because the water is a little warmer than like as you start going south, in my opinion, getting over cold water. But yeah, Sunshine Coast is sick, dude. Good for you. It's an awesome area. Keep my sponsors here. I'm not really sponsored, but I'm waiting for them to contact me. Topo Chico, I'm addicted to those too. So Mark said he's up in Queensland. He watched my guide on wetsuit gloves, but he gets barely cold enough to wear wetsuits. Yeah, you're right. You don't have to wear them too much there. It's pretty awesome. And you said there's some good surfing in that glove video. Thanks a lot, dude. I was actually pretty stoked on that too, because that day, long story short, I'd never wear gloves either. Host Stevie reached out to me. We've been collaborating for like a year on random products, and he was saying that he just wanted me to do a review on the gloves. I actually have them right here. On the 5-finger 3mm and the lobster claw 5mm. Well, what's sick though, it's nice just to have these in your wetsuit quiver because like I randomly went to New Zealand like 2 years ago and I snowboarded, but then I went surfing in Dunedin because it's opposite summers where I'm at. So like that was one time I needed gloves, and luckily I brought gloves, but they were crappy old Quicksilver. But now when I go surf, like Northern Cali or just East Coast in the winter, the whole East Coast in the winter gets in like the 40s. It's freezing. It's frigid as AF. It's like you need these. Like in Maryland, East Coast, you need these. Like for 4 months of the year in America, you have to wear these like lobster gloves. So, but like these things are actually really sick. Like your hands are hilariously warm in these. So I would say they're worth just scooping up some gloves because it's just nice to have. Like, 'cause every once in a while, you're going to go to like a freezing spot. You're going to go to like Elia Bay. You're going to go to, Urban Surf in Sydney in the winter. it's nice just to have. I mean, these are kind of crazy. Like the 5 fingers really aren't too bad wearing them. And again, gloves are, I think, the worst part of wetsuits, but they're a necessity once the water gets below 53. I mean, it's like you kind of have to wear them. So it's good to have a pair. So if you want to support Host TV, is a cool local company in America that you can go to that video and click links. I'll make the monies, and the world will keep going around. We can all be happy. But thank you. That day I rode that board with the gloves on. It was supposed to be small. It ended up being like a pretty big day. You can't really tell it in the video, but those waves are like 4 to 6 and kind of pumping. But the Vargo board is sick because it actually handles big waves really well. Like that's a twin fin too. So that day was sick because I got like really sick waves and I was pumped. So, oh wait, we got a. Hey Rick, I'll give you 1 sec. We have a celebrity. Oh my God, Bartolucci. We have a celebrity. So my old Virginia Beach friend is in the chat. Stephen Bartolucci. Bartolucci, you're here. I don't know why you're up at 3:30 in the morning, but I mean, I probably know why, but it's a PG show, so you can't get too naughty in here. What's going on, Steve? We're talking surfboards. Steve, I do love Firewire. I kind of have a little bit of a connection right now, so I'm all about Firewires. We're talking MASHUP versus Two Fish, and I'm in love. Yeah, Steve, I hope you're good, man. Congrats again on the your big day, and I'm glad Compton was able to DJ, and I'm glad my S2 tractor was able to make a nice impact. But yeah, good stuff, Steve. Let me answer this guy here, then you can keep chatting away. Love me some Firewire. Yeah, Steve, buy a Firewire. Click my link so I can make some monies because you're kind of rich. Click the link, Steve's. But yeah, we have my old friends in the chat, so I appreciate that. But yeah, Rick, you're asking, how do you like the MASHUP as a thruster? For me, it felt squirrely. Yes, I'll agree. The MASHUP, I mean, that's what the MASHUP is. The MASHUP squirrely. Yeah, Mark was saying Noosa is right on the top of the Quiver. Yep, Noosa's up there, but it's, yeah, Noosa's kind of far north, I was reckoning, yeah. Yeah, the MASHUP squirrely. That's a consensus from the surf industry. Oh, Steve, I love the Job comment. Come on. Yeah, like the guy telling me what the $1,000 surfboard to do. Come on. Yeah, the MASHUP squirrely AF. It's a squirrely surfboard. I do find it a little less squirrely as a 2+1. That's a good point. But I kind of like the squirreliness of it as long as the waves aren't like massive with an F. Especially if you sized your MASHUP small. Like, Rick, how big did you size your MASHUP? Because most people I've talked to, they got the 5.7 MASHUP, and they're regretting their life decisions. I have the 5.9 MASHUP. I put the gloves right here. There we go. Little product placement. I have the 5.9 MASHUP, and yes, it's squirrely. And the smaller you go with the MASHUP, the squirrelier it gets. Because I rode the 5.10 MASHUP in the wave pool at Waco, and it wasn't squirrely like at all. And what fins are in there? And I think it was the. I don't think it was the 2+1. It was like the future. It was the future fins. It was the Vector. It's like the new or the Alpha. The new Manosphere Alpha fins. Yeah, so the 5.10 MASHUP in the at the wave pool was like not squirrely and felt freaking amazing. But then this 5.9 is squirrely. And I have medium NVS fins, but they're the superior NVS, like Naked Viking Surf, super stiff fin. So it's like they're the stiffest fins ever, and they're heavy. So it does add weight and extra stability to the board. So For me, I actually do like it a lot now, but it needs a specific wave. It needs like a 2.5 to 4.5, somewhat top to bottom wave. Rick, oh, we got another celebrity. Oh, we got Real Mine. Real Mine, what is going on? We have all the Virginia Beach crew in here. Why and how you get? Well, all right, I know why. How are you guys up? And I'm glad you guys are here. This is awesome. This is awesome. Is it January 1st? No, it's December 30th, 29th. All right, so Scott's saying play some reggae. Can't play any reggae in my audio system. I have to only use a mic. And it's a pretty omnidirectional, like right here. So I can't have the background music will just sound weird. There's like a compressor too. So we're live, Scott. We're live TV. Scott also says he needs a hot take on my favorite thruster for small waves. Ooh. I'm going to say Machado Cotto, Scott. Machado Cotto. Oh. That's my favorite thruster, Scotty. Second favorite is this board right here, the MASHUP, which it is a thruster. It has the 3 fins. Third, I'm going to say Pod Mod. I mean, of all time, it's not really a thruster, though. It's kind of a fish. But I ride it as a thruster. So the Machado Cotto is the new goated thruster, even though it's a 2+1, which just means the 2 side fins are bigger and the back fin's kind of smaller. Yeah, so Mark's saying squirrely. Off the top is fun. Squirrely off the bottom isn't as fun. Yeah, that's right. I noticed the MASHUP does that. It kind of like, well, for me, the MASHUP like surfs pretty much how I want the board to surf. It's just like it's just not as grovelly and small wave performing as I was hoping it'd be. Which is fine. Scott says, Rob Machats. What are you guys up to, Scott? Is Compton around? Yeah, the Rusty. Yep. Next to the big fin. There's like this hilarious fin setup that in retrospect, it's like probably wasn't good at all. What was it called? It was like this. The Rusty. Was it the C? Yes, the C5, I think. Yeah, the C5. So the Rusty C5 is what Scott was talking about. Which, like, boards don't really do this as much anymore, but we'll have, like, the thruster set up, and then next to the 2 side fins, we'll have 2, like, little fins. Which in the end, like, it's just too much fin. But it was a shape that was pretty popular for a while. I just don't see it much anymore. But it was the Rusty C5. This is, like, my first proper... Yeah, there it is. Sick board. So it kind of had like the twin fin outline and the twin fin top. Then the bottom actually has, again, it's like you don't see them anymore because it's obviously too much fin. It's pretty much like a quad with a big back fin. Scott Romine saying, fish is Lord in VV. Yes. The fish is Lord in where I'm at too, Scott. I can't say because on internet these days you can't say where you live because that's called doxing, and I have to pretend that I don't live where I live so that people don't come knocking on my door. It's all about the banks. Yep, Scott knows. We were talking about that earlier. I'll find you. Yeah, so Outer Banks is what I was talking about earlier, and it's a sick wave. It's just only sick for 3 hours every 3 weeks. So unless you're like Brett Barley or it's challenging for sure. They like Rob Kelly and Brett Barley. They make it look easy. And even Ben Gravy, I guess he seems to travel more in terms of like just to find funny waves. But like watching Rob Kelly, you think that he's surfing like head to overhead sick waves every single day, just like looking at his social media. So it is somewhat curated. I'm not like dissing Rob, but it's just a different mindset you kind of gotta like make when you live on the East Coast to be a surfer and to be like a dedicated, pro surfer like Rob Kelly. But it's probably easier to actually separate yourself a little bit because it's so easy to just get frustrated and burn out and over it and be like, F this, because there's never waves. Just too hard, there's never waves. But yeah, guys, we just hit the 2-hour mark. We are in overtime. So let me just regroup here. If you haven't yet, smash the like. Please drop a subscribe. If anyone wants to do my goal, I still haven't made no one's done it. If you make a super chat, you're my official sponsor for my next live stream, which means it means a lot. It's a pretty big deal. So I don't know how you do that. I think you click one of these things down here and you super chat. And then if you do that, you win the goal and you're the official sponsor, which again, next stream, shout you out and you'll be Mr. Big Shot. Scott, you want to... So let me just check really quick too, because I want to see what my other longest live stream is. And if we want, we will go battle to take the top spot of the longest live stream yet. Let's see. My top live stream is... I think it's 2 hours, 15 minutes, which I think we can beat that, guys. You VB boys have got me motivated, even though my voice is going big time here. The throat is going. All right, well, YOLO, right? So 2:15. So I mean, that's another 10 minutes. I think my camera even exploded or caught fire at that time. So yeah, all right, we're going for it. New record. Let's go, guys. At least another 10 minutes, and then we'll have the record. So Scott, you say, how fun are the boards? Boards are really fun. I mean, that's why I'm a Firewire guy now, Berlucci, because the Firewire has actually done something like sick here where they've... First off, if you're like a big environmental guy, a big hippie like you, Berlucci, they're actually like one of the more eco-friendly boards just due to... They actually have this thing called Eco Project right here where it's doing as less harm to the environment as possible compared to normal boards, which actually aren't that good for the environment. Surfboards are essentially made out of oil. And they end up in like a landfill. They're not really renewable at all. So it's like, for a sport all about nature and, hippies, it's like kind of like wetsuits. It's not biodegradable, and to create it is essentially like not that dissimilar to gasoline. I think it's even worse because how it has to get made, and it's such a niche industry where at a lot of the centers that they make like wetsuits, people get cancer and stuff. It's actually this pretty big industry secret that everyone kind of knows, and we all just turn around and don't talk about it. But Firewire is kind of trying. But actually what I've realized is that their productions, these boards are the fastest to me when the waves are smaller, the most get up and go. And this material is actually pretty durable too. And they last longer. Like the epoxy has a longer shelf life than just normal PU, which is the oil baseboard. Berlou wants a cameo. Can't do it. Don't have it set up, Berlou. You gotta maybe you... I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to redo that next time. All right, so Mark says, thanks, mate. Keep up the good work. Got to go and serve the kiddos some dinner. Sweet, sweet, mate. Appreciate that. Oh, Steve says, Brett Barley is an O'Neill guy versus you being an XL guy. Berlucci, I'm actually a big O'Neill guy now. I'm fully converted. That's true. I used to be XL, but now I got a closet full of O'Neill Hyper Freaks, and it's all I wear O'Neill Hyper Freaks. So I'm addicted to, and I'm addicted. I cannot wear anything else. And those are part of the naughty wetsuit gang. Or Patagucci, they're similar to Firewire, where they're trying to make wetsuits that are more sustainable, but they haven't figured it out yet. And for me, my body can't wear the wetsuit. So exactly, you can't beat the stretch. So we're still in this weird limbo state where it's like you don't want to hinder your performance too much. But now Firewire actually has like a really good. They finally have gotten to this point where like the boards are actually really good, and now they're updating it even more. But now it's like their main staples are all really fun, and I think they're doing something right because all their boards just ride really good for me. The future is here. Scott says favorite shaper and his favorite oil. The future is here. My favorite oil comes from I don't know. I don't want to get canceled on YouTube. We got to keep it somewhat politically correct in here because the YouTube police are on it these days. RFK. Yeah, I like that guy. Uh-oh. That might get me kicked off YouTube. Yeah, I love Patagonia too. There's a Patagonia shop right down the street, Berlucci. You should come visit. We can go to the Patagucci store. I mean, here it's mandatory. Everyone in this area where I live has to own one of these. This is the mandatory dress code here. So if you live in this area, you have to own one of these. I'll put it on just for you, Steve, because I'm sure you have a couple of these too. This is our uniform here. Oh. Right here, the Nano Puff. It's actually like the best jacket ever because it's super light. And this pocket is underrated because once you have one of these pockets, and jackets don't have this pocket, you're like, that sucks. Hey, now we're talking board oil. You were talking about. Yes, the board oil. Berlucci says hot. I mean, I'm looking pretty good because I got the Sony ZV-1 filming me. It's the professional camera. Yeah, this it's amazing. And it's interior, like you were saying, so it actually like. And then the two zipper pockets here. It's awesome. And this thing actually like folds into itself. I never do it, but you can like roll it up and then I think it's in here actually. Yeah, so it all rolls up and then kind of goes in its own little pocket. It's really cool. These are some of the best jackets ever. So, but everyone in this area of where I live owns one of these. Usually they have the non-hooded. Or if you live in New York, you have the vest, which is somewhat hated on. But like once you wear these, you're like, but it's kind of the best. Like I don't really care what y'all think because it's the best. And then I actually do think Patagonia is like they're kind of going for it, and I believe in them. I don't think it's all just hokey nonsense. You gotta stand for something. Fall for anything. Yeah. Oh wow. Scott says he's going to the Washington national football team tomorrow. What's my favorite rain gear? Off topics, but come on. My favorite rain gear. This actually isn't the most waterproof, but I do have a pretty lit item. It is the REI rain jacket and the REI rain pants, Scott. I don't know if you're a fan. My backup is the Big Bill gray serial killer hoodie that, like, is huge gray. But REI has some sick rain gear. But what are you guys planning on wearing to the Redskins game? The Bills are crushing. The stream's falling apart, but now we're in overtime, so we can do whatever we want. Fashion show, you want it? I don't know where it is. Don't know where it is. Can't give you that. Can't give you that. Fashion show. Frog togs. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever that gray jacket is. What is that thing called? Gray rain jacket. It's like whatever you wear. It's kind of like the white New Balances. The North Face. This might be. It might be North Face. Yeah, it's like the North Face. No, it's not even North Face. It's like Columbia. That's what it is. The Columbia rain jacket. The good old. There it is. The Columbia 65 and older rain jacket is awesome. Juanita Clothing Company. But there we go. Now we're getting tons of likes, so I appreciate it, y'all. Thank you. Hundreds. I guess this is what you guys want to see, huh? You want to see clothing reviews and me yapping about who knows what. Oh, yeah. For sure, yeah. Columbia's sick now, though. Columbia's on its A game. I actually have snowboard pants from Columbia, and they're hands down the best snowboard pants I've ever had. I have 2 pairs that I rotate, and they're stretchy. They best waistband ever. They fit me the best. They're not like super baggy. So Columbia is actually on its A game now. It's no longer the non-cool company it once was. Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, we were at 2 minutes. We're 2:12 here. We're about to hit my my new record, so I'm super stoked. What if anyone wants to chime in about, again, which one you would pick, Scott, which would you go for? Would you go for this 2-fish, which is a big floaty twin fin, or Scott Romine? Oops, said your full name. Your name's on there, isn't it? Would you go for the MASHUP, which is a thruster shred machine? Which are you going with, Scott? Which are you going with out of those two? We'll wait for Scott, what he says. Scott, you need the 2-fish. Yeah, Scott, you'd be shredding this thing. 6'3". You need that float for that tall, lanky body. These will keep it nice and loose for you. The Machado keels. They are the best. They are the best, Scott. Yeah, this is it, Scott. The 2-fish. Shaped by Rob Machado. This is Rob Machado's fish that he rides right out front by me. And he's got his fins. And you can be the talk of the town. You can be the talk of the Atlantic Park surf park, Scott. And you go surf there. So. It's 5'11". It's 5'11". So it's pretty much 6 foot. But like, if I had to also put these 2 boards versus the Machado Kato, like the Machado Kato is sick because it kind of like takes both of these, combines them, and it's, I think, more of a daily driver than either of these. The 2-fish isn't like really a daily driver, just due to, like, when it gets bigger, it gets too out of control and too skatey, too wild. Even if you're a good surfer, it's just like you don't have the hold that you kind of need and want once the waves start to increase. But the Machado Kato actually does a little better there. But then, like, if it's smaller, then you do want the more fish, the more slidey, skatey, forgiving, whatever board. Like, even, like, actually the Seaside and Beyond back here, would, in the end, for a normal person, kind of be even better than both these, because once the waves get over 6 foot, the Seaside Beyond's going to handle more. And it's going to paddle better and actually be a better groveler. So for a beginner surfer, that board would actually be your best bet, Scott, is that thing back there, the beautiful Seaside and Beyond. Yeah, Scott says, what do I want for my fit, slender shape? Getting older, should I just say F it and start foiling? Ooh, yeah. I mean, foiling's hard and super dangerous. I would say you go buy yourself a nice 8-foot wave storm, and then you're good to go. Let's get on that wave storm, and you'll be good to go. As the stream declines into total chaos. Scott, who else? Is this you and Berlucci? Where are you guys? Are you in Berlucci's new famous little mansion office down on the shore? And I'm gonna talk a little bit about like what people are saying on the Firewire site about the boards, because it's interesting because like when people say the mashup is like kind of squirrely, that's the one adjective I always hear that I guess is kind of negative about it, is that it's squirrely. What's funny is that people talk about the two fish, they never really talk about it being squirrely. But I think that's because like they understand the board. Like they're not going into buying the two fish and thinking it's going to be like a performance holdy board. Like they kind of, somebody who buys the two fish knows it's going to be like a fish you bought in 1975 that Mark Richards made. Like that's what you know you're getting, so you expect it to be kind of squirrely. The mashup, the marketing, and just what the shape is, like you're thinking it's going to be like not that squirrely. You're thinking it's going to be kind of like a pod mod. Because like on the site, on the website, when I read reviews right now of the mashup, people like say it's rippable, works very well in the wave pool, which I think in the end, like it's still the best board for like Waco. That's why they have these the most at Waco. Like a wave like Waco, or even like any of the Perfect Swell, or like the newer ones that are more barely, and all the new ones, it's like it has enough rocker, it's skinny enough, but it's still floaty enough. It's like it kind of ends up being like the ideal surf pool. Like even if I had the Revo Max and the Machado Cotto and this and the sweet potato, like if I went to Waco, I would want the 5.9 or the 5.10 mashup. So Scott says, what to do if this guy named Mikey keeps stealing on my waves? It's, I don't know, man. You just gotta deal with it. Gotta deal with the locals, I guess. How big's the quiver this day? And it's mostly squirrels still around. He looked like a delight. Oh, Mr. Squirrel. Mr. Squirrel. Mr. Squirrel's not still around. I think he got run over by a car accident, unfortunately. But yeah, Scott, this is the quiver. I mean, I have the Varga board over there, and then I have the Album Twinsman, which is kind of like this board, except skinnier. And it's my big wave board, and that is my quiver right now. So, but I do love this beautiful shot of all the boards in my sponsors right here. Host Stevie, Hoplark, Topo Chico, Patagonia. Oh, Bare Bottom. I actually am sponsored by Bare Bottom. If you guys want my shirt, you can go watch my Bare Bottom video. I'm just chilling. I'm just a YouTube shill now. Killing it, brother. We miss ya. It's just me and Steve. Well, that's awesome, dude. Please come by more. It's really fun to see. Just so the chat knows, these are a few of my best friends that stop by that I don't get to see very often. So it's always great to catch up with you guys. And we're all living our lives, and we get to check in every now and then, and it's super fun. Really great. And I'm proud and stoked for you guys. So Keep crushing it, and I will keep crushing it. And we just did it. We just passed my longest live stream. I think. Still trying to double check here. Let me see. Live. Doesn't want to do it now. Trying to see my longest live stream. I think it was 2:15. So I think we at least passed my longest live stream. And now we are officially into the super duper or past overtime. What's after overtime? Sudden death. We're in sudden death. You can't beat it. Yeah, brother. Well, Scott, you guys better go to bed soon, dude. Don't let me. Please stay, but I know what time it is. Good Lord. Favorite 3-2. That's easy, Scott. That's easy. I'm typing it right now. Hyperfreak 3-2 Plus is hands down the best 3-2 in the entire world, bar none. Like, actually craps on the competition. Even its own inbred competition, like the Hyperfreak Fires. Yes, by O'Neill. Yeah, you knew it. Yeah, Brett Barley is a lucky guy because if I just got to get like tons of hype, but it kind of sucks for Brett though because like it does get so cold in the Outer Banks that like he probably does like the fires and the ones that have more welded and stuff. The Hyper Freaks are kind of bare bones, but line focus, yeah. But they're the stretchiest things ever, and they feel amazing on your body because of the Techno Butter 3. But then they made a new Hyper Freak called the Hyper Freak Fire, which unfortunately they blew it big time because they made Techno Butter 4, which somehow is kind of sucks. I don't know how they went from like having the best material ever to it's like kind of stiff. It kind of itches. It's warmer. It is warmer, but it defeats the whole purpose of the Hyperfreak, which is like stretch, comfort. Like especially if you have a bad back, it's like the Hyperfreaks are your solution. They also have a double neck seal where it's not just like one flap, it's actually two. So when the neck is sealed up here, it's like having two pieces. When you move your neck, it stays on your neck a lot better, so you get less flushing. If anyone's gonna buy a Hyperfreak O'Neill, I do have some videos talking about it because like I am super passionate because they're the best. But you want to get the zip. You don't want to get the comp with no zip. You want the Hyperfreak regular with zip. If you get the comp, there's no zip, but the string goes to crap real quick and it gets real flushy. So any of the Hyperfreaks between 2 mil and 5.4 and the hoods, the hooded Hyperfreaks it's the best hood ever. Like I don't know why O'Neill hasn't taken the Hyperfreak hood and cut it out and made a separate hood. Because the Hyperfreak hood, like, it's the best hood. Like, that's also another product where it's 10 times better than everything else because it doesn't destroy your chin. And it feels great. You can hear pretty good. And it's just the Techno Butter 3 around your face. So it's stretchy and it's not pulling on your neck. So if you think about it, the hood, if it's attached, is just pulling on your neck the whole time and creating like resistance as you go like that. So it's usually the hooded suits, even though they flush the least and they're the best, it can create a lot of tension in your neck because it's so thick and they got to be tight so water doesn't get in. Scott says, is XL still around? Used to be my favorite. Yeah, I was big hype. I was big XL guy. Like I would get the Comp X, I think it was called. But I hit a moment where I kept getting flushing in my neck. They do the single one, and I could never get the sizing right to not flush. I even got like a medium large, medium tall, large, and like everywhere else felt good, but the neck, no matter what I did, would always flush. And then one day I was like freaking over it. And I texted my friend. I said, dude, I can't get a freaking wetsuit that works. Like, what do you recommend? And luckily he said the O'Neill Hyper Freak. This was like 4 years ago. And that was a great day because that was the day I got to discover the Hyper Freak. And since that day, my wetsuit worries have been over. But the only thing the Hyper Freaks they are not, I would say they're not the warmest. They're warm enough, but they're not the warmest, and they are quite fragile. So you want a changing mat, and you want to baby that thing like it's your firstborn. Where you want to rinse it out. I rinse it out every time, outside and inside, and then I hang it, and then my Hyper Freak never touches the ground. Like that thing is on a grass mat or a pad. It is blasphemy if I see a Hyper Freak on the cement getting like pulled. It's an ick. As the kids say, I got an ick. Best moisturizer, top of the valley. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Top of the valley. Best moisturizer. I don't know. I don't use moisturizer. I'm straight shampoo. Not a moisturizer guy. It's built-in moisturizer. 2-in-1. 2-in-1. Well, we're at 226, guys. Now we're just gonna keep going. We're just gonna go till my camera blows up, I guess, or my voice completely dies. I'm gonna grab my other favorite beer or fake beer. Scott, you guys know about these rational ales? You need to get on these. Put it right here. There's one more I want to have, and it's the regular IPA. Regular. So BRB, don't you go nowhere. Here, you can focus on the Seaside and beyond while I'm gone. There it is. Check that guy out. Be right back. Don't y'all go nowhere. The final boss of fake beers. 7-foot Seaside and beyond. Great board. If you're in America, it is for sale. So you can hit me up. We can make a deal. All right, I'm back, but we don't want to be that zoomed in. So he's back, and oh, you guys stuck around. I appreciate that. But Seaside and Beyond, if you are in the Americas and you're looking for a Seaside and Beyond, it's in great condition. Just a little less than 2 years old, and I just want to make room for the Revo Max, Chado Cado, or Sweet Potato. This is my goal. All right, one more. 228. Should we try to go 3 hours? I still don't know if my voice has it in me. Oh, nice. Sweet. Yeah, these are the best. They are 0 alcohol, though. They're fake. Hat's fire. Thanks, Scott. Scott, you got it. You're going to make me blush, bro. I'm blushing. So we'll talk about the hat for a sec, because this is Desert Surf. This is going to be the newest wave pool in Palm Desert. In your favorite location, Steve. Palm Desert. John Luff is building this. He's going to have Wave Garden. Yeah, 3 hours, Steve. I can't believe it either. It's like we're watching Return of the King. My voice is just starting to hit a crackle, but we might have to do it. I mean, even if I make it 2.5 hours and my camera doesn't blow up, I'm gonna just check my camera is not gonna blow up here. And oh, dude, we're good. We're good. The ZV1 is goated. Yeah. So Desert Surf. Type in Desert Surf into your Google or Firefox or Brave browser, whatever you're using. DSRT Surf. It's going to be in Palm Desert. They're building it right now. It's actually pretty far along the process. It's really cool because besides the Atlantic Park in Virginia Beach, Scott and Steve, it's going to be the first other wave garden in America, and Luff is it's basically his brainchild. So it's pretty cool. Old Luffy. So it's pretty cool. 2 towers, guys. 2 towers. Yes, this is kind of like 2 towers. Yeah, just goes on. You're just like, all right, when's it going to be over? One of these trees going to stop walking? And then you got Sam. I like that one though. Is that's the one where like, I guess no, my favorite's the third one, Return of the King, because I love when Sam kind of like Smeagol convinces Sam that Frodo's bad, and like, and then the last scene where Frodo wants to throw the ring in the fire, or he doesn't want to. It's top. You kidding me? That's like the best moment in cinema history of the last like 3 decades. Is that 3 minutes of when they enter the fire Mount Doom, and then Frodo decides, oh, it's game time. Then Smeagol bites his finger off and falls into the lava. You can't mess with that. That's ingrained into like cinema history as top 10 best scenes ever filmed. Like Rosebud's up there. I Have the High Ground's up there. Frodo's up there. Then the whole Donnie Darko director's cut. That's up there too. Oh, dang. Scott one surfed Southern Shores, North Kakalaki. It's awesome, dude. My daily nutrition routine. We're really getting into the weeds now. Okay, well, I try to drink rational ales besides real beer. And then I drink usually a super smoothie every day, which I didn't get to drink today because it's this 3-hour live stream. But I do have my list, or my supplement mega dose, which is turmeric, ginger, garlic, Whole Foods multivitamin, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, a fish oil made out of like anchovies, L-lysine, and I pop one of them Zyrtecs. I gotta pop the Zyrtec for the allergies. That's my concourse. That's a word. My conglomerates of vitamins, nutritions, and then kale, avocado, banana, acai, frozen fruit, creatine, oats, not almond milk, the other one that's everyone likes now. Almond milk or another substitute to almond milk, and then orange juice usually. Blend it up in the NutriBullet, and that is the super smoothie that I might have to make here in a sec after we hopefully reach the 3. I guess I'm going for 3 hours. I don't know. My friggin' voice is toast right now. Steve. Yeah, we'll let the stream keep just going off into who knows where we're going. But Scott says Steve wants a hot take on the drone activity. I've actually been slacking on the drone activity. I do need to drone more for sure, because it's awesome and like every drone shot's amazing. But I'm usually only droning on like gigs now, and it's usually just to grab a few shots. But it always acts as a incredible and a must-have establishing shot for most events, because an establishing shot just establishes what's going on, aka a master shot, and a drone has the best master shot because it's showing the whole establishment so you know where you're located. If the scene started and it was just a close-up, you don't know where you're located. You don't know what's going on. But if you start with the super wide drone shot and then you cut to a close-up, your brain is like, oh, that person's somewhere down there where the drone showed me. So this is filmmaking 101, but you usually start wide, build in, build out. Drone shot is such an amazing shot because it shows the whole master wide shot, and then you've established that's the scene, and then you can cut in. So it's kind of a necessary go-to for pretty much any video now. That's an event for sure. She said, I thought your favorite song was Miss All-Stars. Hip Trippin'. What's that? Is that Ghetto Superstar? What's Miss All-Stars? I don't even know what you just said, Steve. Lettuce is playing here. The band Lettuce is playing here, and they're playing like a whole album of one of the Wu-Tang guys in like a week. I might not go. I might be blowing it. And then Bright Eyes is coming, which I want to go to that too, but can't afford no concerts. But Bright Eyes would be sick. Yeah, if you go see Bright Eyes, life's great. Be like I would say comparable boards to like to the Two Fish or the Mashup, but especially the Two Fish because it just dropped. Is a board by Almeric. It's by Mikey February collab, and it's what's it called? The Feb Fish or the what's it called? It's something weird. Feb Fish. Yes, it is called the Feb Fish. Yes, the Feb Fish. Okay, the board actually doesn't say the name of the model on the board when I saw this board a couple weeks ago, but this board looks a lot like to me like the Two Fish. Yeah, like if you look at the Feb Fish by Almeric, it's very similar to this. It has the big swallow, and they're kind of not copying, but they're doing what Rob did, where the swallow stays very wide, but then the board actually like gets wide up at the front third, like the weird looking way, not as intense as Rob's, and then his nose though on the Mike February, it kind of doesn't do this thing as much, but if you look at the Two Fish next to the Mike February new Almeric board, they look very similar. The one difference is the Almeric boards are going to be in PU. So if you kind of just want PU and you don't like how the Firewires ride, then that could be a good option. Scott says Mississippi All Stars. They come with bushy tails, hippie tripping. I know what that says, Steve. I thought your favorite song was Mississippi All Stars. I don't even know what that is. I mean, that is what I typed in. I don't know. Yeah, Hawaiian Island Creations is definitely still around, Scott. They actually are kind of popping off on the YouTubes right now, Hawaiian Island Creations. They have a couple cool YouTube videos, like debunking stuff and kind of like clickbaity stuff, which I like in like a good way. Like they had a pretty cool video talking about surfboard volume. If everyone else wants to go check this out, not right now, obviously during my 3-hour live stream, but later if you want to go watch. I think they made a video called "Why Volume Is a Lie" or something, and the main HIC shaper was talking about how we get super obsessed with volume, but in the end, it's just like the displacement of water. So it's like even though you think that volume's universal, like it kind of isn't. Like if a board's longer and it has the same volume as like a smush down board, they actually still will float differently, even though in theory the volume they would only go in the water as much. But a more stretched, like the Revo Max kind of confirmed this for me. Because Revo Max is 6'3", but it's 35.7 liters or something. So it's like kind of like for me, my perfect like 5'10", 5'11 dip. Just my perfect dim is like Pod Mod 5'10" is 35.9 or 0.8 liters, which for me it's kind of been like I've always liked having that much float, but it's not too much and it's kind of perfect. So the Revo Max, it's like a little more stretched out and it has the same volume as that. But to me, it seems like it actually has less volume than that, which is funny because if you have, more board, like if you have a longer board with the same volume as a shorter board with the same volume, you would think the longer board actually like feel floatier, but kind of not because there's a lot of other things to it. Are the rails thin or do they kind of go out and make it a boxy? does the nose like get thinner or does it stay wider? So that's what's so interesting about the Revo Max is like as the board goes up and up in length and it like starts to get beefier, it to me it changes what the board is. It actually like when it's smaller, it's kind of like a pretty good groveler and it shreds good waves. And then as the board gets bigger, it becomes like kind of like a longboard replacer, where I think you could still shred it, but you're hitting like the 7 foot, Revo Max. It's like 60 something liters. It's 57 liters, I think. Yeah, the 7 foot Revo Max is 53.5 liters. The Seaside and Beyond 7 foot, same length, is 45 liters. It's 8 liters less. So you can kind of tell with the Revo Max, it's like it's a more broad shape that changes a lot more and scales better than like the two fish, I think. Especially in terms of like if you have a bigger board and the waves get bigger, you would think a bigger board would do better in bigger waves. The Revo Max will do better in bigger waves, but a giant two fish won't do better in bigger waves. So that's kind of interesting. Like how some boards scale and don't. But the Revo Max has taught me so much, like with my time with it and me needing it back in my life. Just like how, yeah, it's like it was my first time riding like one of the Tomo boards. It was like one of these weird Holly boards, and it really just opened my eyes a lot about on surfing and surfboards and what they can be. Oh, Mississippi, North Mississippi All Stars. Let's see, North Mississippi All Stars. You mean the Long Beach Sub All Stars? Oh wait, okay, I see them. Oh, the lead singer does look hilarious. This is a joke, Steve. Do I really know this band? Oh, they're a blue and southern rock band. Okay, they look kind of sick. Oh, Les Claypool. Okay, so they're like a Primus type deal. Sick. Scott asked best board for a novice Sheila. That'd be this board, Scott. That's what that board would be. I'll drop a link for you, Scott. This is the board you want. Right here. Go to your local Amazons.com. They've raised the price on these things. Holy crap. Do you guys know a Wavestorm costs $250? It's worth it though, I guess. I remember when you used to go to Costco and you buy a Wavestorm, it'd be $99. Now Wavestorm, well, now they only have the now they only have like the Jerry Lopez one, I think, at Costco, which for some reason people are hating on. I don't think it's as cool as the old one. I think the classic Wavestorm and like the blue stripes is like the sickest. Like I don't even think it's lame. I have a Wavestorm right over there. I think everyone needs a Wavestorm in their Quiver because it's a great board for guests in particular. Like anyone who just doesn't surf often and like you're going surfing or meeting people and like someone has a friend or someone has a boyfriend or girlfriend and like they need some big floaty board. It's always a nice thing to have just as like an extra board for someone. It's even a good backup longboard. Like if my Varga board's in the shop and the waves are 1 foot and I'm feeding, you can still ride the Wavestorm. So it's still usable. Now, is it any good? I mean, not really. It's kind of like not the best board ever, but it'll get the job done. So yeah, check it out there, Scott. Amazon, get the Wavestorm for you. Scott says about to roll. Shame coming to the game with me and Pops. Love you. Look for me lower prime time. That's awesome, dude. So my friends are going to the Washington football game tomorrow. Who are they playing, Scott? Because the Bills are going to win this year. It's our year. It's our year, baby. It is our year to win. But I feel like the another, like, I don't think it's as perfect to have, but even like that wave storm that's kind of like a fish. Where is it? I don't think I've actually ever ridden one. But to me, they seem like, okay, here it is. Like, oh, they actually made it look kind of cooler. So the wave storm fish is cool because it's a 5'6", but I'm pretty sure, yeah, 66 liters. So like for a 5'6" to have 66 liters, that's like pretty unbelievable. And what makes a wave storm is like not suck too bad is that's awesome, dude. Falcons. All right, last game of the year. Wow, that really? Dang. All right, well, go Washington. But yeah, the wave storm actually has 3 stringers. So like if the wave storm didn't have any stringers, like it would really suck. But the fact that it has like a wooden stringer actually is saying a lot, and that's kind of why I think they can charge $250 now and not feel too bad about it, because it has a stringer, at least 3. But shout out host Stevie. Thanks, fellas. Love you guys. Host Stevie did a video, if you look it up on the YouTubes, where he cuts open Wave Storm, a catch surf, and then one of like his host Stevie longboards. And it was funny because they all looked very similar on the inside. The catch surf was kind of unimpressive, in considering that it's supposed to be kind of a higher, better foam board. But the host Stevie board's kind of cool because, let's see, it has like this grip on it. There it is, but it's expensive. So what host Stevie kind of did here is he made a put in the chatter here. He made a wave storm that I think is actually like a big improvement. One, due to the grip that he used. So he used like kind of this, I think he calls it an alligator grip or something. It's kind of like this textured material that it has really good reviews. I mean, right on Amazon, there's 15 reviews and it's all 5 stars. And it actually has like a pretty good. It's kind of like the wave storm fin that you screw in, but somehow you can screw in like actual fins and do it. It doesn't have to be the round end of the fin. It can be like the FCS1 I'm looking at right now. But I've heard really good things about it. I mean, it's just a little, I think, expensive for a foam board. But foam boards are great because they last forever. And like I said, they're a great thing to have in your quiver, just for the rare occasion that little Timmy's coming to town. You know, you little board for little Timmy. So you throw him on the host Stevie longboard, and he's off and running. But all right, guys, we are at the 2-hour, 50-minute mark. We're about to hit the 3-hour mark. This is my new official record for live streaming. If my camera doesn't explode, we'll get to 3 hours. We'll have a quick celebration, and then I probably have to go because the camera's about to explode and my voice is officially done. And it's quite late. It's quite late in the night. I need a super smoothie. But yeah, guys, I would say another comparable board to both of these, obviously, that I haven't talked about it that much, is the little brother to the Seaside and Beyond, which is the Seaside. Now the Seaside's cool because I think it's more user friendly than the Two Fish. So but it's actually and it's a little thicker and bigger. So the 511 Seaside and Beyond is 41 liters. This is 38 liters. So the Seaside and Beyond is more of a beginner, intermediate friendly board. Where the Two Fish and the MASHUP, I wouldn't say they're beginner boards. I would say if I had to pick one and you were still starting out, like I would go Two Fish, just due to it being bigger and wider and slidier. If you're just going straight, it actually is going to work better. The MASHUP is not going to work good standing up and going straight. So unless you super oversize it, but it's still not your best option. Another board that I think is often overlooked, and it's kind of a staple in the Firewire Quiver, and I hope they don't decide to take it away, because I still haven't tried this board, but I really want to, because I think it'd be pretty sick. It's on my list, is the Greedy Beaver. So, and to me, the Greedy Beaver is the shape you would want a grovelly board like this, because the Greedy Beaver is kind of doing what a lot of these boards are doing, but it's doing it to the extreme. It's actually going a different route. It's going more so like my Varga board, which is kind of like a rounded nose, and then it comes to like kind of like pretty much a rounded pin. So the Greedy Beaver, even the site says it's a shortboard feel but packed with longboard functionality, which is that's exactly what you want in like a groveling board. Like a lot of times people try to get the MASHUP to grovel and they think it's, but sometimes like a longboard shape is still goated. There's a reason that most longboards have a nose like this, because all that surface does a great job of just planing. That's why the Rebound Max is such a good job, because it's kind of like that. But the Greedy Beaver, to me, like, is your best bet for like a Two Fish, but even more stable, better. Not gonna say better, but like even on the site, someone says I put that ish on everything. The Greedy Beaver, small wave, big wave, I mean everything, and that makes a lot of sense because you have the 5 fins, and you actually get the rounded pin in the Greedy Beaver, which standard practice suggests that like a rounded pin is better for big waves. But a lot of longboards do tend to have the rounded pin. So how is that? Well, I've seen like on the Varga board, it's an 8-foot longboard, has a really big belly, which is the bottom part right above the fins, as opposed to Rob's spoon. It has like a legit belly. So if it is rounded, the belly helps it flop over on each side more, as opposed to like a squash or no belly. It's going to want to hold more, but it's not too. Don't be scared of the rounded pin, is what I'm saying, especially if it's like kind of has the wider big nose, because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll bring it in a lot. So it won't even be that wide 6 inches from the tail. It'll be like kind of skinnier. And even the like the same, like the 6.0 Greedy Beaver is 37.5 liters. So it's even volumed out less than the Two Fish. Oh, cool. Mark Ellerman said he tried it. So Mark Ellerman said, I tried a 6.8 Greedy Beaver at nearly 50 liters. I found it pretty sluggish. How to get your back foot almost off the tail pad to get any performance out of it. Was quick down the line, though. Okay, interesting. What fins did you have with it? Mark, did you go eat dinner and come back? Has it been that long? Oh, gosh. Mark, my voice. My voice. Yeah, The greedy beaver, I want to try. I would want to try the 6.0, maybe the 6.2, maybe the 6.4, 6.0 to 6.4. I wouldn't want to go super big because I can see where that's where it gets kind of sluggish. Well, Mark, I was planning on getting done. I had some old friends stop by, and then I realized I'm close to 3 hours, and I realized I wanted to beat my last record, and now I'm going to beat my new record and make this the official longest live stream about surfboards ever on the YouTube history. So hopefully I go down in the YouTube fame. But if y'all keep asking questions, I'll stay. So Mark said it only had a thruster set in it. Would have liked to try a 2+1. I would want to try it as a twin for sure too. But like I would want the album twin fin NVS fins or the KS 2+2 with with probably the bigger one. What's crazy is I've been riding the KS 2+2, just the twin fin in the album twin fin, and what I've noticed is it actually holds up just as good as my NVS album fins, which are the NVS G10 material, which is like stiff and heavy. The KS fin is completely opposite. It's super light. It's not. I wouldn't say it's flexible, but it's like not. It's just super light. It's like, I guess, a lot of carbon fiber, but they work really, really good. Way better than I thought. Even on like these big days I've been riding them in, it's been feeling great. And because my twin's been slightly oversized, it's kind of nice to have the board kind of be freed up a teeny bit. But I haven't noticed any like weird slidiness or anything. Like it's been like solid. So yeah, I think the greedy beaver with the KS 2+2 with either of those would be really sick. I agree. I don't know how it would go as a quad. Could be too much fin, and especially because you're saying you have to. You have to have your foot all the way back, which I never like. Being a front foot surfer, my foot, I'll put it back if needed, but the two fish is one board where it's like, I realize your foot, when you're driving a lot of your energy and stuff off the back foot, and it's like right here on the pad. Either the pad wasn't here. If it's like there's a sweet spot right here where it really does like react nicely. But you have to kind of like use your back leg a lot. And so far, like these fins have been like the best by far. I still need to try the KS in here, but the KS are very upright, and I wonder how they're going to work. Part of me thinks they're not going to work, but after riding them on the twin fin, they're working really well. But I think it's like, I think this board's so wide and stuff in the back that I don't know. I just don't think the upright twin is the best call for the two fish. So yeah, mind focus. I am. Yeah. My camera's finally like, all right, bro, can't do this no more. I'm getting hot. Me too, camera. Me too. But if anyone else has any questions, please chime them in. We are, excuse me, I'm sorry, I keep burping. We are about to hit that 3-hour mark. I had no intention of going 3 hours. First 20 minutes, I thought, no one cares about the two fish or the mashup. We're going to have to call this quits. But then we had Migsy, we had you, Mark, we had my friends, we had everyone come in, and your boy was able to make it to halftime, and then I had a great second half. But then we tied, and then I went into overtime, guns blazing. And then during the sudden death match, I decided, you know what? I'm getting mine. I'm getting mine. And we have hit 3 hours. I got mine. I did it. The official longest live stream on the YouTubes about surfboards ever in history. Only to be passed by me, I guess, in the future when I have to now go beyond 3 hours, which seems impossible. How did I talk for 3 hours? This will be an interesting replay because I do not know what I just talked about for 3 hours. Did I even talk about the surfboards? But to conclude on the surfboards, guys, please just chime in if there's any last minute questions. We're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to just repeat myself here, but I'm going to say if you want just like a groveler or small crappy waves, you want to be loose, 2 fish. If you want a little more hold, but not too much more hold, you want to shred it more like a 1999 shortboard. You don't like twin fins, you're a thruster guy, then MASHUP's your call. If you can't choose between the two and you want some kind of similar one that's daily driver, your third option is the Machado Cado. Between those 3 options, like, you really can't go wrong. And I would always say foam's your friend. I would say size up a little bit. Others might say different, but for the MASHUP, definitely be wary of sizing it too small. 2 fish, you can go a little smaller. One thing too, as I go into a million more hours, I actually realized I can go smaller on this, because as the waves get bigger, that's where it's too much board. But when the waves are tiny, 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 physics wins, and more board and smaller surf, you're going to go faster and get more wave. So a lot of times when you're buying a board like this, you also need to think, what waves am I going to be surfing it in? Which is funny, we don't think about that more often. We think about, oh, it's this and that, and oh my gosh, and like, what waves am I literally going to go surf Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the next couple months? Like, what am I actually going to go surf? Because even I suffered through that. I surf a ton of waves that are like slopey, long, where it's like, well, crap, this board doesn't do it. No, the 2 fish does it, but this isn't mine. The Album Twinsman doesn't do it. It's not like you even really have a board that's good for, like, I mean, the Seaside and Beyond is pretty much the good slopey, rolly wave board. But that's for like the Machado Cado could be good, or the Sweet Potato, or this Grady Beaver, or the Seaside. So it's a lot of it is like the waves you're going to surf. Sometimes even more so than like what you prefer to ride. Like, I could love riding shortboards all day, but if I live in Curry Beach, North Carolina, and it's summertime, like, well, am I going to surf more if I have a 9.3 Stewart, or if I have like a 6.2 Sci-Fi 2.0? Like, it's a no-brainer, the Stewart, the longboard. So the type of waves you're going to surf should dictate your ultimate decision of which board is going to win your surfboard battle. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone for tuning in to another Hero's Journey live stream. This has been the ultimate battle of the 2 fish versus a MASHUP. Hope everyone gained some value out of this. If you haven't yet, please smash like, hit subscribe on your way out. Let me know in the comments after the video if you have any other questions or comments. Feel free to reach out. Until next time, we out. Peace.